Time as well. That would be heartbreaking if it happens. But Sheffield have, of course, been resolute in the defence as the ball is delivered towards the back post. It's in. The ball is in the net and it's been turned around. Oh my word! They have done it, and the Hallam are heartbroken.
My heart beats in patterns with a broken sound. You're the only one that can calm me down. My head spins in circles, so I'm dizzy now. All of this time I should have figured it out. I'm a free animal, free animal. I'm a free animal, free animal. Free animal, free animal. My heart beats in patterns with a broken sound.
Good afternoon and welcome to Forge Sports' first live stream of Varsity 2019. We're here live at the Goodwin Centre for today's trampolining event where the University of Sheffield has a 4-1 lead over Sheffield Hallam University. To talk us through how the structure of the trampolining is going to go, I'm joined by Nicole.
Yes, thanks for introducing me, Alfie. So, it's going to be, there's 6 categories, 6 to 1, and we're going to start off with the lower categories and we'll work our way up to 1 and 2, which is where the really tough trampolining goes. Now, each athlete will perform one set routine, and that will just be a list of jumps they've already been given. In the categories 1 and 2, however, they will be allowed a bit more expression with how they perform those jumps.
So that's how the trampolining is going to work out here at Goodwin. As you can probably tell behind us, they are warming up and we are almost ready for the event to start. On our commentary team this afternoon, we have our very own Tim Adams, joined by Rio 2016 silver medalist Bryony Page. So with Varsity, obviously, it's a huge event on the university's academic calendar. How have you found the atmosphere being around campus so far?
It's been amazing. I'm sure most of the Sheffield students here can attest to that. Walking through the SU, walking through the city, you've got banners, flags everywhere.
And obviously, Bryony Page is coming back here to the University of Sheffield to commentate for us on the event. How do you think she's feeling being back where it all kind of begun for her?
I mean, I think she's been really enjoying it. She was down here helping to set up at the beginning. You know, she's done such an amazing career. Obviously, the first ever British athlete to win an Olympic medal. And I think just coming back to your roots, who doesn't enjoy it?
And who do you think is going to have the edge today? Obviously, there's a lot of black and gold here. There's not that much Hallam here, but they've been pretty loud so far.
Yeah, I mean, Hallam did win last year, so they've definitely got the advantage coming in. I think Uni haven't won since 16-17, so Hallam have taken it the last few years, and they do have some very good athletes in the 1 and 2s, but so does Sheffield.
So for anyone watching at home who isn't aware, the current scores overall of Varsity are 10-all. So this year everything's to play for. Whoever wins has got that edge.
They really do. They really do. Every point is important, and of course each of Hallam getting a bit excited there. But of course, each event, each Newt category, 3 points to the winner, 2 to the second place, and 1 to third. And then at the end, that tally will be what decides who gets the ultimate point today.
So the end event is the one to stick around for, the one
Definitely.
to watch for.
That's the one that's going to have the most creative routines, the most difficult routines. I mean, yeah, keep sticking around, keep going for that support, and wait till the end. Wait till the end. You don't want to miss it.
And obviously, with Varsity being such a big deal, obviously Sheffield Hallam and University of Sheffield, they have like quite a good relationship, but you can really tell that during these Varsity events, as they're both shouting behind us, you can sense the rivalry, but it's something that Sheffield kind of like prides itself on, like how the two universities get along with each other and how they compete and like how everyone comes together. It's like such a great thing to see across the city.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's something that makes it a bit unique here. You've got the Varsity youth, you know, the athletes. It's a fierce competition, it's very fierce, but it's friendly and it's a competitive friendliness, and I think that is what makes Sheffield unique, that's what makes it special. I think that's why people and crowds love coming to Varsity events so much.
And the events have been selling out, like the
really
crowds are selling out. There's a crowd up here on the balcony today, but right now I think we are now ready to head over to our commentators, Tim Adams and silver Olympic medalist Bryony Page.
Yes, hello and welcome to Goodwin Sports Centre for Varsity Trampolining as the University of Sheffield take on Sheffield Hallam. There are 6 rounds of categories throughout the afternoon, from those taking to the trampoline for the first time to the experts of their field near the end of the event. It's currently the University of Sheffield 4, Sheffield Hallam 1 so far after snow sports and the equestrian, the sailing, yesterday got cancelled due to high winds, but no high winds here indoors here at Goodwin. And alongside me today, Bryony Page. Last time we spoke was at ESPS in November. How's it been since then, and your first impressions of how you think today's going to go?
Yeah, it's been really good, and I'm so excited to see how everybody gets on. Everyone's cheering. You can definitely see that there's like a nice friendly rivalry, so I'm excited to see how it goes.
So first up is the North England's University Trampolining 5 group, and this is Luke Essigman.
really good start for University of Sheffield with Luke. So he's chosen to do the set B routine. So in Newt 5, up to Newt 2, everyone has to do one of 2 routines, and there he's chosen the set B routine, which starts with a tuck back somersault. And in the set A routine, people would end with a front somersault.
So next on is Sean Harmon from the University of Sheffield. Just to say, with the previous score, Luke Essigman got 9 there as his first score.
So we've got, to score, we have 4 execution judges and 2 horizontal displacement judges, and we'll get given 2 execution altogether and 1 HD, so the average kind of score there will be given.
Well, that was Sean Harmon there. Bronnie, how did
yeah,
he went there?
I think we've got a bit of nerves getting to someone here, so he's probably a bit nervous about that back landing. So it's, it's one of the earlier skills that people can struggle with mentally, because you have to go backwards and it can be a bit scary for some. So it might have just been a bit of nerves there getting to him. But we've got a great support system here. Everyone's like really friendly and cheering him on, so no one will be upset by that.
And next up, the first for Sheffield Hallam this afternoon, Maddie Stewart. Maddie about to starts her routine in a minute. Just quickly on the scores, the overall score for Luke Essigman, 23.4 was the finalised score there. The average, of course, between the executions and the horizontal displacements, and we are getting Sean's score in a minute. But for Luke, the number of moves he did completed the 10. For Sean, it was 6. So here is Maddie Stewart from Hallam.
Just showing a little bit more form. You want to see people stay in the middle of the trampoline, because that's obviously one of the scores, and you want to see like pointed toes, like all those little gymnasticsy stuff, and of course getting into tight shapes and just showing control of the trampoline. That's what she did there.
So next up from the University of Sheffield is Freya Baxter.
So the scores we have it's out of 30. That's the maximum they can get. So as long as they complete 10 skills, so you get marked out 10 for each routine that you do if you do 10 skills, and obviously you get 3 scores. So 23.4 from Luke at the moment is a good score.
There, Bronnie.
Yeah, she looked really delighted with that routine. She's very happy, and it was a really nice routine. You could see again the control, and when you make the shapes, you want to make sure you're touching your toes in the pike shapes. The straddle shapes are when your legs are in front but apart, so you want to get a good reach there, and then tuck shapes. She's still hitting all those good basic elements there.
And next up is Alex Blaney from the University of Sheffield. Just to give you a quick idea of the score so far. So Luke Essigman, who started off this afternoon, scored 23.4. Sean Harmon, 13.9. And then Maddie Stewart from Sheffield Hallam leading the way with 24.2 at the minute. So out of this group so far, out of these 23, whoever gets the, whoever gets the most points gets 3. And then 2 and 1 for first, second and third.
was Alex Blaney there from the University of Sheffield. Ronnie?
Yeah, again, a really nice routine. It's a really good view of the trampoline you can see on that time. You can see there's a smaller box. So there's a large box and a small box. Everyone wants to try and stay in the small box, and that's you get 0 deduction for that. As soon as you start to stray away from the cross in the middle, that's when you start losing points on the horizontal displacement score. So you could see on that routine he was like on the cross pretty much every time. There's only a small amount of travel, so I would expect the HD score to be very high, and I think we've just seen that it
looks
is
to be very, very high
actually
so far.
10 out of 10. So that's our first 10 out of 10 HD score. So he really nailed that.
So Freya Baxter, who went after Maddie Stewart from Sheffield Hallam, 24.4, which is 0.2 higher than that of Maddie. So Freya Baxter currently leading the way so far. Right, next up for the University of Sheffield is Aaron Banjoko, and Aaron is about to start his routine in a moment.
Yeah, he's a really lively character. He's going to just enjoy this competition, I think. You know, people can be feeling quite nervous for this, but he's definitely going to just be pretty excited just to show off what he can do.
The legs hitting the sort of the trampoline there. So how was that?
Yeah, so he can tell, you know, he's smiling now. He's finding it quite funny, but he just lost his timing with the back landing, going back up to his feet. He's meant to go from the backdrop when you land on the back on your trampoline. He's meant to go then half twist to feet, but he didn't quite get enough rotation and just did a front drop instead. So that won't be marked out of 10, unfortunately, because he didn't do the correct move.
So next up for the University of Sheffield is Dravisha Sapida. Just to give you a quick idea on Alex Blaney, he got 23.9 for the University of Sheffield. So currently still Freya Baxter leads the way with 24.4 out of 30. So Bronnie, quickly, on this group, these are the people who have started trampolining for the first time this year? Or
yeah,
newcomers?
A lot of them will be newcomers. This will be like it's one of it's the second most basic group. So there will be some people that have maybe done trampolining before or at school, and they're just, you know, they're trying to improve their form. Because going up to the next group, you have to do more somersaults. So of course it's just a limit of if you can do the somersaults as well as doing them with form as well.
And then later on, of course, the experts take to the field with the last few groups and the categories there.
Yeah, so we're going to finish with Newt 1 to finish the competition, which will be the most exciting. We've got 3 University of Sheffield competitors, and then 5 from Sheffield Hallam. And I'm actually trained with Ralph from University of Sheffield. When I'm training in Sheffield, he trains with me. So I'm excited to see how he does.
So before Dravisha Sapida starts her routine, just quickly, Aaron Banjoko got 14.2 overall out of 30. But here's the routine. A rapturous applause for that routine. How was that?
Yeah, good. You know, there's not too much differentiation between these people. The routine she chose to do was the first one, where she finished with the front somersault. And it showed good control again. I think we want to see a little bit more, like a bit straighter legs. And when you make the shapes, you want to see tighter shapes. So they're a little bit loose there. I don't think it will score as well as some of the others, but the horizontal displacement looked pretty good from what I can see here.
And the horizontal displacement is where they land on the trampoline.
Yes, so that's if they land in the cross, they don't get any deduction, so they want to stay in that small box. If they stray away from that, that's when they start to lose points.
So here from Sheffield Hallam is Sophia Ward-Villosa, about to start her routine. The second athlete from Hallam so far in this category. Great applause there for Sophia. Bronnie?
Yeah, so you could tell she was bouncing a little bit lower than the others. That's mainly to keep control of what she's doing. So she might have just needed to take the height down a little bit. And in her back landing, she had her legs a little bit closer to the trampoline. She actually did really, really well to hold that and not over-rotate the ending and do the opposite of what Alex, I think, did, or Aaron, where he landed on his stomach. So there's that risk of over-rotating that ending from the back landing and landing on one foot. She did really well then.
So next up for the University of Sheffield is Joseph Townsend. Certainly a lot of height in that one.
Yeah, he jumped a lot higher. You could tell right from the start he had that little bit more confidence and probably a little bit more practice to get that height and control. He kept it really nice, I thought, up until the back landing when he started to bend his legs. We wanted to see straight legs, but you could see actually he had really nice pointed toes right from the start, and like that reach with his arms. You want to be, when you make a straight shape, you want your arms to be above your head, really, really tight, and he kept making those shapes. So it was a really nice routine. Unfortunately, I think because of the back landing, that might be judged quite harshly, and he did travel at the end. But we'll see what the judges think.
Well, in terms of the scores so far, so Dravisha Sapida, 24.2 for her. Sophia Ward-Villosa from Sheffield Hallam, 23.7. And Joseph Townsend on our sheet at the minute is 24.2. So still so far, Freya Baxter with 24.4 leading the way for the University of Sheffield. But this is Liz Baxter from Uni of. And that was Liz's routine there. Another great applause from the Uni of fans in the far place of Goodwin there.
Yeah, that was a lovely routine. She had really nice body tension. You can see like pointed toes. Her arms were straight when they needed to be straight. Her legs were straight when they needed to be straight. Yeah, that was a really nice routine. We'll see how that scores as well. So you could tell it was a little bit lower, but it still had confidence and control, and that was really nice to see.
So far, out of the athletes who have taken to the trampoline so far, all of them bar two have actually completed their moves. Do you think that's just down to nerves?
Yeah, nerves and maybe just they needed a little bit more practice and confidence with that skill that they've messed up with. The backdrop half twist of feet and the somersaults are the hardest skills in this routine.
So this is Millie Beardsley from Sheffield Hallam.
So this is the backdrop half twist that people can sometimes struggle with, and the somersault to finish. You end with, you can't see the ending. So that was a really good routine there. You can see like she's smiling and stuff. So, but the front somersault is a blind landing at the end. So you actually have to spot the ending really. Like you have to be really aware of where you are in the body. I find front somersaults quite difficult.
Does that come down to practice, or is that more instinctive when you're actually on the trampoline?
Both, I think. Like you have an awareness of where your body is, especially because of it being that blind landing, not being able to spot the cross, which you normally do in most skills. So you have to have a really good kind of body awareness and also perception. Not from what you can see, but away from what you see. So that it's quite a difficult skill. So it's surprising that a lot of people have done that one and not the back somersault, because you can see the back somersault a little bit easier when you go round.
So this is Bethany Fox from the University of Sheffield. a great pose to end there. Shame about the ending there, but valiant, really valiant attempt there.
Yeah, I was going to say it was going so well. You know, you could again that if you can see pointed toes, straight legs, and straight arms, you definitely can see that control that the athlete has, and that's what you want to see. Unfortunately, she just rushed that front somersault. That again, like when you have a little bit extra nerves, your body wants to put a little bit extra in, and unfortunately she put too much rotation and over-rotated, and that's why she kind of missed her feet on the landing and went to a front drop.
So this is Jamie Scott from Uni of so far in terms of the scores. So Joseph Townsend 24.2, Liz Baxter 24.3, Millie Beardsley from Sheffield Hallam 23.6.
So it's really close to the top.
It's really close to the top. So it's still Freya Baxter leading the way with 24.4 in first. So as it stands, she'll get the 3 points from this category, with Liz Baxter from Uni of getting the 2 in second with 24.3. So 3 people so far on 24.2. It is so tight.
Yeah. So I don't know for this competition how they're going to, if they do what tie breaks they're going to do. It might come down to the other execution scores. So obviously you can see we have 4 execution judges, but only 2 are counted. So it might be that they look at the other execution scores, and whoever gets the highest out of those ones that weren't counted might be the tie break. You won't see another routine. They won't complete another routine to see who gets the tie break there.
So Jamie Scott about to start his routine for Uni of Sheffield. Completed the flip in the end, and another rapturous applause from the black and gold in the corner there. What do you make of that one?
Yeah, you know, I really enjoyed watching that routine, because he was one of a few people that are starting to put line outs in their skills. So a line out is when, so you can see in the straddle shape, I'll read out the next routine and say the skills. But when he did the straddle, he went from the shape and lined out and put his arms down by his side like in a straight shape. And he also got a lot of really good sharpness to his routine. So when he was doing his swivel hips, so that's when he lands on his bum, he goes back up and he makes that straight shape really well. And even in the front somersault, you could see he kicked out from a tuck shape into a straight shape, which you don't often see in this category. So that was a really nice routine to watch.
So here is Bethany Fox from Sheffield Hallam about to start her routine on the far trampoline here.
So here's the full twist, straddle with a line out. This is the swivel hips. The pike jump with the legs in front and straight, back landing, a half twist out almost, tuck shape, and here's the front somersault. So unfortunately there, I think she'll only get marked out as 7 because her backdrop half twisted feet, you could see she didn't quite make it to feet there, unfortunately.
So is that on the execution then? So you marked out of 10 if you complete the full?
Yeah, so execution and horizontal displacement will be marked out of however many skills you do. So if you do 10, which is the set number of skills that you have to do in your routine, you'll get marked out of 10. But unfortunately, she only did 7 complete skills there, so she'll get marked out of 7 for execution and for horizontal displacement.
So far on the scores, Bethany Fox 22.2, and we have a new leader so far. Fantastic score for Jamie Scott, who got 10 on his horizontal displacement and a score of 25 out of 30. So he's first, and Freya Baxter in second place at the minute. For Jamie Scott, that's an incredible score.
Yeah, he had the line outs and the kick out the front somersault. You could tell that he had that little bit more experience, a little bit more practice. You could see he had confidence when he was doing his routine. It was a really nice routine to watch, and I'm glad that the judges picked up on that little bit extra experience in the line outs, because that's what you want to see.
So next up is Tabitha Gent for the University of Sheffield.
Yeah, that was a really lovely routine. I think the horizontal displacement score might be a little bit down. But she had really, really nice execution. She pointed toes, touched her legs, you know, she had all the line outs in there. And actually, she's one of the few people that I've seen today doing the back landing in a straight position. A lot of people have been bending their legs or piking in, and she actually held that straight position right to the end, which is what you want to see in the back landing.
You put her on the sheet as one of the ones to watch so
yeah,
far.
Yeah, so
did she live up to expectations?
She did, yeah. I hope the horizontal displacement score. I hope her execution will be good enough to counteract that small displacement that she had.
Well, next up for the University of Sheffield is David Gilhepsey, who's about to start his routine in a moment. And just on to beat Ghent, she has taken the lead, 25.25 so far. So she is in first place, Jamie Scott in second, and Freya Baxter in third at the minute. But this is David's routine. Well, just about in the end there from David Gilhepsey, just about in the end, and you know.
Yeah, that's an interesting routine there. So in the back landing, his feet got quite close to hitting the trampoline, so that might be counted as a scratch, and it might be counted out six skills. Although you could see he carried on. If you're doing a back landing, the only part that should be on the trampoline is the back. So it'll be interesting to see what they say about that, and if they allow it, because I couldn't quite see from here if his feet actually did touch the trampoline and when they did, so that also makes a difference.
So it has to touch the bottom of it has to touch the trampoline itself, and not actually.
So when he landed on his back, his feet needed to be in the air, but you could see he dropped his legs. So depending on when if and when they hit the trampoline, it might not be counted as a back landing. So that will be shown in his scores.
Well, next up for the University of Sheffield, it's Flory Andrew.
Yeah, so it looks here that he's been marked out 6, unfortunately, because of that back landing with his feet. As we just get in the scores now.
On the horizontal displacement, yeah.
Yeah, you can see like his horizontal displacement is a 5.6, so it's been counted out as 6, unfortunately, because it was really close. I wouldn't have been able to. I would have found it difficult to make a decision on that. But if I'm honest, I think they made the right one.
So this is Flory. In the end there.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. You know, it was actually a really lovely routine. She had pointed toes. I always keep saying that, but when you see that, you know that they have control over what they're doing and they have a big awareness of what their body's doing. Unfortunately, again, it's probably down to nerves. Just over-rotating that last skill, maybe a little bit extra adrenaline just caused her to put too much into that skill. And like I said, it's blinds at the ending, so if you're not quite aware or if something feels a little bit different, it's really hard to control that landing. And unfortunately, she'll get a penalty for landing and hitting the blue mat.
Do you think that comes down to nerves a lot of the time, or is it?
Yeah, nerves of practice. You know, if people haven't competed before as well, it's quite nerve-wracking. You know, I've competed since I was 9 trampolining, but some of these people have only just started competing trampolining, and you're in front of a crowd of people on your own, showing off what you can do on a trampoline. It can be quite daunting. So yeah, I think nerves is a big part to play here.
So here is Sophie Mawson from Sheffield Hallam, the penultimate routine of this category.
That was lovely. You know, her and Tabitha, she showed a backdrop half twist in that straight position, which was really nice to see. She actually that was probably one of the best backdrop half twists I've seen today so far, because she had that control on the exit, so landing on her back and then coming back up to her feet. She performed that really well, and you could see on the tuck front she kicked out from the shape into a straight position and held it really nicely. You know, she had really good body tension and form there. So I think that will score quite well, and it didn't travel too much either. So yeah, I think that might be a contender for the top 3.
Well, to give you an update on the scores so far, so when we left, Jamie Scott was in the lead with 25, but he was overtaken by Tabitha Gent with 25.25. David Gill-Hespy, 13.9 overall because he only completed 6 out of his 10 moves in his routine there. Florrie, 22.4, a really, really good score for her in the end, especially after the last few seconds. But currently it is a 1-2-3 for the University of Sheffield, and Tabitha Gent leading the way. So this is the last routine, and it will be Ella Fry from Uni of in this category, the first of this afternoon's trampolining coverage here live from Goodwin.
Okay, so you just missed the start of her routine there, and she actually made quite a difficult error to carry on from that. She did a full twist and travelled almost the whole length of the trampoline, and to get back from that she did a really good job, and you could see from when the camera came back that she was in the middle. Unfortunately, she took an extra straight jump, so after the back, there's the backdrop again, this demon, the backdrop half twist to feet. She just didn't quite get enough control, and she took an extra jump. So in training, like, that would happen just to get her routines going, but unfortunately in a competition, that will terminate her routine on that straight jump because it wasn't the right move. So that will be marked out of 8.
And indeed it has. To give you a quick update on the scores, so Sophie Mawson at the end of this category 5 start list for the trampolining this afternoon, 25.4 her score, which I think puts her in the lead and gives her the 3 points for Sheffield Hallam there. Tabitha Gent 25.25 in second place, and then Jamie Scott for the University of Sheffield in third, which currently means it's Hallam 3, Uni of 3 from the first category. So, you know, a fairly equal starts.
Yeah, very close competition, definitely.
And that is the end of that category, and we will go to our presenters, Alfie Robinson and Nicole Oshisamwo.
Thanks, Tim O'Brien. Well, what a competition we've got holding up here. The atmosphere in here has been fantastic.
It's been absolutely electric. Both teams really, really supporting their athletes. It's been great to see.
And with Sophie Wilson taking the lead there for Hallam, her performance was pretty impressive.
It really was, and you did see the full range of athletes there, from those who are maybe newer to the sport to those who've got some experience, and I'm very happy for her. She's put in a great routine, so congratulations.
So for those that might just be joining us, let's talk through the structure of the whole event again as the Uni of teams and Hallam warm up for the next Newt.
Of course, so there are 6 categories, Newt 6 to 1. We've just had the Newt 5s go, and we'll have the 6s, 3s and 4s in the next lot, and then after that the 1s and 2s who are the best, so do stay to see that. Each athlete has to perform a set routine with set jumps, spins, all those sort of things that they have, and they'll be marked on their horizontal deviation and also their execution, and then it's an average of those scores which get put together to give them their final score.
And for the actual scores that come together, so after that round it is Hallam 3, Uni of 3, because obviously Sophie Wilson took the lead for Hallam, and then in first and second place was the Uni of, so it's basically a 3-2-1 scoring system.
Exactly. So first place gets 3, second 2, third 1, and then at the end they'll take the total of those scores, and the person who wins will get the varsity point.
So with 5 more rounds left, it's 3-all, everything's still to play for. And I think now it's time that we take a look ahead at what other varsity events are coming up. Obviously on Tuesday we've got Hillsborough kicking off, and we are going to be joined right now by our varsity expert, Varsity Dave. Hey Dave. So talk us through the coming week, what's happening up with Varsity.
Yes, we've got a lot of fantastic events to be looking forward to here in the Varsity over the next 10 days or so. We've got the opening day, of course, the big real opening on Tuesday with the men's and ladies football at Hillsborough. We've also got things like boxing throughout the rest of the week. We've got EIS, we've got Abbeydale, ice hockey. There's lots of fantastic events to be looking forward to, and it should be a great 10 days of sport.
And so those that can't go to the events, what events are Forge Sports streaming live?
So we're going to be streaming, obviously we've got the trampolining today, then on Tuesday we've got the football, men's and ladies coming live from Hillsborough, we have got the boxing on Thursday, and we've got EIS sandwiched in between those as well. Then over the course of the weekend we have got Norton that you can look forward to, and then next Wednesday we have got the ice hockey as well. I might have missed something in there, but you can find out more on our website.
So obviously with the live streams that are happening, it adds like an extra bit of competition to the competitors that are here. Like obviously they know it's not just the people in this room that's watching it. Like, do you feel like that adds the extra pressure onto them?
Yeah, it does, because your family and friends can watch along at home. You can watch it back afterwards for many years to come with that live stream. Many others of thousands will see it. So I think that does add an element to your performance, trying to do the best you can because it's on camera. Today we have Bryony, one of the world's best trampolinists. That's going to add some pressure from people who maybe only took up trampolining a few months ago. You got one of the world's best watching you. You're going to want to be on your A game.
Anything to add, Nicole?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what event are you looking forward to? We've got a fantastic couple of weeks of sport coming up, but what's your number one pick, would you say?
I think for me, it's got to be the grand finale. It's got to be the ice hockey. University of Sheffield haven't won that for about 16 or 17 years, but having spoken to some of their players, they're feeling better this year than they have for the last few years. They think it's one of their greatest chances to win. It gets a fantastic bumper crowd, 8,000 people, one of the most well-spectated events in Varsity across the country. The Sheffield Arena is the biggest ice hockey arena, I believe, outside of North America, so I think the ice hockey is the real one to watch.
And with events like today, obviously, there's loads of different rounds, they're all competing at different times. When it starts to get to the end of the competition, obviously Uniov and Hallam contestants can like see the points added onto the score, and they can tell like they've got to perform a lot more.
Yeah, you don't want to be that one that messes up and you lose the point for your team, and that could be the point that ends up being crucial in Varsity. So everyone, especially towards the end, is going to want to be on their A game to do their university proud.
Anything else, last thoughts?
No, just thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for giving us a good roundup and look ahead to what's coming.
No problem at all.
I think ahead of the next round we've got, it's, do you want to talk to us a bit about the next round that's coming up?
Yeah, so just to let you know, it will be the 6s, 3s and 4s going, and they'll still be doing set routines. Not as much variation as the 1s and 2s will be able to incorporate into their routines.
Perfect, and we are now lucky enough to be joined by Bryony Page, our commentator. Hello, you're right.
Yes, good, thank you.
Hi, it's great to see you, obviously coming off the back of British Championships win in 2018. What's it like to be back in Sheffield? Are you enjoying the competition?
Yeah, the competition's really good so far. I'm also looking forward to the next few groups as well, as people start to do a bit more difficulty. We see a few more somersaults. But yeah, it was really nice to watch, just like a few beginners and getting into competition. It's been really exciting as well, seeing everybody like each, Sheffield Hallam and Sheffield University cheering on their teams. It's been really cool to watch.
Obviously, we can't have you here without asking about Rio. What was it like taking home that silver?
Just incredible. It still feels like it was only last week or so, because it's such a big memory. It was the most incredible feeling. 16 years of hard work. Literally like tears, sweat, blood, everything. Just putting the hours in and just going through everything. Just to be able to enjoy the whole journey and then get to the Olympics and experience something that I've always dreamed of doing was just incredible.
And just like to ask you a quick question about the psychology of the athletes. Obviously, you'll know what it's like to compete. Some of these, it might be their first major competition. What do you think they're feeling right now?
I think one that, excitement. Charlotte is the captain of the Sheffield University, and she's always about enjoyment, having fun, be excited to do it, and like giving, exuding confidence. So I think a lot of people will be internally quite nervous, but externally they'll be showing excitement. So they've got to deal with that little bit extra burst of adrenaline. We've had a few people come, not fail, but have a few mistakes because of nerves. Like putting that little bit extra of adrenaline, you're going to put a little bit more into your somersaults, and we've seen a few people over-rotate there.
And tell us what you've been up to. Obviously, it's been a whirlwind couple of years, but what have you been doing on and off the trampoline?
Yeah, so I'm still training. I'm still jumping every day on the trampoline. And training towards Tokyo, the Olympics. We've just started the qualification process for our countries just this year. We've had our first World Cup. It's going to be a World Cup series, so whoever gets the highest rankings will qualify points. And also at the World Championships at the end of this year, we'll qualify extra places potentially for our country. So really, I've been training really hard, trying to improve. I've had a few surgeries as well on my ankle, so I've had to go through some rehab stuff. But outside of trampolining, or almost, I still can't quite get away from the trampoline. I set up a fitness fitness classes on mini trampolines. So they're on Monday nights here in Sheffield.
Oh, wow.
Called Boogie Bounce Trinity Sheffield. So yeah, so people can come along and have a bounce and exercise in a really fun and interesting way.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Did you have any
Thank
questions?
you.
you wanted
Yeah,
to
just going back to today's event. Obviously, you've competed on the world stage at the Olympics. How different is it to the Varsity event that we've got on here today?
Yeah, I get the same sort of nerves if I'm competing at a World Championships and if I'm competing at Varsity, because it's almost, when you're competing at Varsity, I was almost expected to win. So you felt that nerves, and you felt like it's a team event. It's massively, it's a team thing. So you don't want to let the team down. So when it comes to like competing at a World Championships, you still feel that you feel the nerves every time you compete, because you want to do the best routine that you can. You want to do well for your team, or you want to do well for yourself, or your country, or your squad. So the nerves you get are quite similar, and it's that feeling of, yeah, I really want to step up and I want to perform and I want to do this, and I feel that wherever I'm going to compete, and if it's Varsity, Bucks, or at World Championships or the Olympics.
And looking ahead to the rest of the competition today, who are the athletes that you're kind of keeping an eye out for in the 1s and 2s?
Yeah, so we've got Ralph Habgood from the University of Sheffield. He's competing in Newt 1. I train with him at Graves. It's still in Sheffield, obviously. And that's, he's worked really hard. He can do really high difficulty. Here we're only doing one routine, and it's really, focused on execution and how well you perform it rather than on difficulty. So he's been working execution and that horizontal displacement, trying to get it in the middle. So it'll be really interesting to see how he does on a more basic routine. We've got Charlotte Sweet, who's the captain of University. She's competing in, I think, is it Newt 3, and also Cecilia. She is a Hallam competitor, and she coaches at Graves. So we know, me, Ralph, we've trained together, and she's, we talk a lot at training, and she helps coach me sometimes, just giving a little bit of tips and pep talks and stuff. So yeah, looking forward to seeing her. So we've got like a few people to look out for, and obviously I'll explain more of it when people are competing.
And obviously, for some people, it's the absolute pinnacle of their trampoline career. But for some people, it's the absolute pinnacle of the trampoline career. Obviously, you performed at Rio. But like, how would they be feeling? Like, what's going through their minds right now as they're like gearing up for this event? Yeah.
I think a lot of people will be, if it's their first competition, they'll probably be quite nervous, and maybe a few thoughts will come in about the judges, because they've never been judged on a routine before, and also they've got a crowd up here, so they might feel a little bit self-conscious. But a lot of the time, because we've practiced that in training, so Kate, the coach, and also James and Meg from Hallam, they'll be getting people to perform their routines in front of the squad. So they'll kind of get used to that, but I think it will run through their mind as, oh, I'm stepping up, I'm in front of a crowd, and other people, some people will think they worry about that. Other people will be excited to do that. I'm one of those people that I'd love to perform in front of a crowd. I'm excited to do that, especially when the routines have been going well in training. So people will be thinking about that. They also want to do their routine. So before they get on, they might think about how to do their routine, and visualize themselves doing it, and be like going through the routine in their head so they don't forget it as well. So it just depends on what level you're at as well.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of our coverage today. Obviously, we're going to let you head back off to the commentary table to get ready for the next round. So thank you again so much for talking to us. Thank you, Bryony. Thank you. So obviously, Varsity, a week and a half of event. There's lots going on. Starts at Hillsborough, like it's the kind of first main event that's got the crowds going to, and then it ends at ice hockey. Obviously last year it was sold out. This year again, I believe it's already sold out again. What must be going through those ice hockey players' minds?
I think the thing is, as soon as you get to Sheffield, one of the first things people say to you is Varsity ice hockey, Varsity ice hockey. It is the most important event, and I think all of those players in that club, they're indoctrinated to that mentality that they are the showpiece, the best. So they must be nervous, excited. There are so few people who will be able to say, I've played in front of 8,000 people, and that must be a huge boost for them.
And for those of you who was unlucky enough to not be there at last year's event, here is a reminder of what happened at last year's ice hockey finals.
Sheffield Varsity 2018. Roundup Wednesday the 21st of March. The Ice Hockey Ones game started with a minute's applause for a lost legend. When the puck dropped, Uni started strong, scoring in the first 10 minutes. However, before the end of the first period of play, Hallam had equalised, followed by 2 goals in quick succession at the start of the second period. The competition stayed strong until the very end, with a final score of Uni 3, Hallam 6. Leaving the overall varsity score at Uni 3, Hallam 2.
Last year's ice hockey event was truly amazing, and this year it's going to be the same. We're really looking forward to it here on Forge Sport. We are joined by Sarah Morse and Harry Preston, the 2 union sports officers. How are you doing? How are you finding varsity so far?
Good, yeah, it's going really well. It's quite exciting really, because obviously although the official opening's on Tuesday with the football at Hillsborough, there's actually been a handful of events happening this week, and obviously with the snow sports back in December, so it's actually all kicked off already, and I think starting to come alive in both of our student unions and universities now.
I think we've been looking forward to this for ages now, ever since we went to Val Thorens in December for Snow Sports Varsity. We've been waiting for this one moment, Varsity coming around, and like Sarah said, although the official opening's Hillsborough, there's so many great sports that we get to witness across this week particularly, and hopefully it continues.
And the other thing is, sorry, about to ask another question, was that like obviously myself and Harry have been like working on this for like, you know, back since July, August, like weekly meetings. So it's nice to actually see the delivery of it and see it come into fruition.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions actually. You know, obviously you've been working so hard. This is one of the biggest events that you'll have to deal with. Yeah. What's it been like, all that pressure, all that build-up? Are you just excited to kind of see it get started?
You want the honest answer?
Yeah, I know. Honestly, no, genuinely, it's been amazing. I think, especially within sports officer roles that we have, everyone tends to think it's about varsity. There's so much more to that, but one of the big things is actually varsity. And ever since we came into roles in June, we've had monthly but now weekly meetings about varsity just in its entirety, and like I say, it's great to see the delivery of it right now, and fingers crossed everyone enjoys it and has a good time.
Yeah, and I think for myself as well and Harry, obviously we've worked together a bit throughout the year on other projects, so for example Disability in Sport Week, so we had a bit of a rehearsal in terms of delivering a campaign or event back in November, so it's been really nice that we've been able to work together throughout the year, and then obviously now with the big varsity happening like this week and next week and stuff, so and we've been able to like bring some of the work that we've done throughout the year. For example, the Pride in Sport and LGBT inclusion, we've got like rainbow laces for all athletes to wear throughout their games, and we've got rainbow flags at Hillsborough in the corner flags, haven't we? So yeah, it's been really good, and it's just nice to see it all come alive. And I think like although obviously we were only students last year, like you kind of forget how like this is such a big deal for students. It's like the best time of the year, if not the best time of students' whole like university career. So we need to remember that and make sure it's like as most enjoyable and as fun as possible for those involved in taking part and for those watching as well.
And obviously you two work quite closely together to bring this whole event to life. And is there a sense of rivalry between you two? I've seen you've been doing little games on social media.
Give me the microphone.
Genuinely, I don't think so personally. Sarah might come on the mic in a second and say otherwise, but the not for points varsity that we've been doing, just a bit of fun between us. Obviously trying to create a bit of media coverage to say about what varsity's around everything. But I think we've worked so hard on trying to get this competition on for everyone, promoting the oath as much as possible. If we didn't abide to that ourselves, I think it wouldn't really be in what this competition is all about, essentially.
Yeah, like Harry's been absolutely awesome to work with. It's been I feel so fortunate, and like it's a real pleasure to work alongside.
It's mutual, don't worry.
Work alongside in this year, and it just made the things so more enjoyable and so much more worthwhile. It'd be really challenging, I think, to not work together. And also, sometimes me and him have the same, like we're obviously on the same opinions, that we agree with things, and have to work together to kind of get staff to agree with that as well. So it's so much better if we're on the same page and we're, you know, in agreement, then we'll get more done.
Yeah, definitely.
And that sense of friendly competition, as well as obviously rivalry, is so important to varsity. Are you looking forward to seeing kind of the little fun stories we see of cooperation throughout the 2 weeks?
Yeah, massively. Like you pointed out right there, it is a competition any day. Like Sarah wants to win just as much as I want to win, but as long as it's done in a fair, respectful way, I think neither of us will be too unhappy about that. There's so many great events coming over the next few weeks, which we're all going to be attending. Like we put in so much effort across the year. I think it would be foolish for us not to try and enjoy it just as much as students. So fingers crossed we all can.
So you've got the Hillsborough event, football men's and women's on Tuesday.
Yeah.
How are you feeling ahead of that? Obviously, Varsity ended there last year. This year it's kind of like getting started there. What are your thoughts on how Hillsborough's going to go this year?
Do you want to take that? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've had mixed reactions between people who are happy that ice hockey's the final again. So I think it's fine both ways. I think it's so we're so honestly so lucky that students get to play in a professional football ground. So I think the fact that it is at Hillsborough is amazing. And yeah, I think the atmosphere should be really good. Obviously, it's probably not going to be as big as it was last year because it's not the final now. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a really great event. And I just really hope that the crowd numbers are just as high, if not more, for the women as well as the men, because that'd be something that I personally would love to see, because I know last year that wasn't the case. So I think after Women in Sport and This Girl Can type campaigns that we've both done, it'd be amazing if we can try and get that same support to both clubs.
Yeah, like Sarah alluded to it earlier on in the interview, in terms of we've been doing so much across the year and working together in such a disability in sport, but we've also been doing campaigns that work alongside each other, like Women in Sport that we've both done, This Girl Can, and that sort of Women in Sport at Hillsborough is what we're looking to try and push to the fullest. It's a great opportunity for not just women but also those students participating to play in a professional stadium, and we're looking to just promote sport and physical activity to everyone. Obviously, Varsity is a great showcase of talent and participation, and we want this to be shown to those coming to university in future, make sure there is an opportunity for them to get involved.
Well, thank you both so much for taking the time to have a chat with us.
Thank you for having us.
Right now, we are going to take a look back at last year's football event at Hillsborough. The Goodwin Sports Hall for Trampolining, but right now we're going to head straight back over to Tim Adams and Bryony Page for commentary.
Hello and welcome back to Goodwin Sports Centre this afternoon, where we have had trampolining here indoors at the Sports Hall, joined by Bryony Page for this afternoon's coverage. Always a great event this, the first time we've done it live, and you know, what have you made of it so far?
Yeah, it's really exciting that we've had Forge in here, and you know, videoing the whole thing, keeping it live stream, which is awesome. Yeah, so far it's been really good, really exciting. This is when it starts to step up. We have Newt 6, Newt 4, Newt 3. So the higher the number, the lower the routine difficulty. So in Newt 6, we won't see any front somersaults or back somersaults like we've just seen, or the back landing. That was, a few people had a bit of trouble with that skill, so this was taken out. So this is the most basic routine competing today. Then in Newt 4, we're going up to a few more somersaults and a Barani if you choose to do the set B. So a Barani is a front somersault with a half twist. It's a forward front somersault with a half twist. So this is a twisting somersault. So this is a little bit more advanced for people. You have to somersault and you have to twist. So it can be a bit more confusing and more complex. So that's Newt 4. And then going into Newt 3, we have Baranis again and more somersaults. So depending on which routine you choose to do, you'll either have more brownies or more single somersaults.
And was this the case for you going through the university and getting to Olympic level as well, where you would pick up routines like this and move further into your career as you went through your sort of teenage years?
So started off kind of competing the novice routine for me, which was like half twist, the swivel hips, and no backdrop half twist, which is that skill that a few people we've seen a mistake, and no somersault. So that was my first competition. It was just a really basic routine, and then as I progressed, like I started adding more somersaults. You add in the back somersaults, you add in the brownies, you add in the full twisted back somersaults, you add in then 1 3/4. So you have, we should see some of these going into Newt 2 and Newt 1, which is where people do a 3/4 somersault. So they start rotating forwards and they land on their back, or they rotate backwards and land on their front. So this is a controlled skill that people do, and then a brownie ball out after it, or a Cody. So that's like a somersault but onto your body, which can be quite scary sometimes.
And at university, was there the sense with you, where you went from Newt 5 and 6 to Newt 2 and 1 quite quickly? Was it easier for you than it was for others? Or?
So I just went straight into the higher Newt levels, just because when you start trampolining at university, you just go to the level that you can compete at. So I didn't have to start at Newt 6 and make my way up, but because I'd already kind of done that when I was younger. So you just get entered into the level that the coach and the captain think that, and also the individual thinks that they can compete at.
So who are the ones to watch for you this afternoon then?
So in this group, we've got in Newt 6, 4 and 3. Newt 6, we've got Katie Smith and Grace Pollock from University of Sheffield. Newt 4, I've put like Cecilia from Sheffield Hallam. And then in Newt 3, we want to look out for Charlotte Sweet, who's the captain of University of Sheffield, and Alice Oldfield as well. It's a small group, but it's also really competitive in that Newt 3. And then we've got one Sheffield Hallam competitor in that. So the University of Sheffield there, have already definitely secured
the points.
For
so
that
section,
there's a lot of pressure, I guess, on Georgia Wright to do well in this group from Sheffield Hallam. But I'm sure she's not feeling it, or at least they're not putting on her. She might be feeling it herself, but she'll want to do well to get some points there.
So what's the mental side of trampolining like compared to the physical side? The mental preparation that you've got to go into an event like this, and for you, when you went to Rio, what was that like? Was it a nothing to lose attitude, or was the sense that you thought that you could win a medal, and there will be people here now thinking that they should be collecting points in that same way?
Yeah, so a difficult way to go into competition is when people expect you to win, because you feel like you've got something to lose rather than something to gain. So a lot of the time, the mental preparation that goes into a competition is the main part, especially just to give you that little bit extra edge. So competitors here, the mental preparation that they need to do is just be aware of how they're feeling. So if they're feeling quite nervous, you'll see a lot of people trying to calm themselves down. They'll be thinking about their routine. So it's just getting into that zone that we always talk about, the athlete zone.
The purple patch, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to be in that place where you feel comfortable and confident on the trampoline, that you feel happy with your routines, and you feel happy with the amount of adrenaline that you have going through your body, which is something that's definitely it's a physiological response to how you're feeling psychologically.
So what's going through your head, when you are going through the air on a trampoline and you've got to get to your next routine? Are you thinking 2 or 3 routines ahead, or are you just thinking about the next one that you've got to do and then you just move on?
So when I get before the routine, so in the prelims we'll compete 2 routines, and they're completely different. So when it comes to marching out and doing my competition, we'll have a 1-touch, and you'll focus on the 1-touch, which is just when you get practice. You get 30 seconds on the trampoline, then you finish, and then that's just your warm-up, and then you compete your routine. So for the first routine, I'll be thinking about that routine. As I get onto the trampoline, I'll be thinking about jumping, then I'll be thinking about the first skill, then the second skill. So you're trying to stay in the moment, thinking correctly under the pressure that you have, and being able to make split-second decisions to be able to adapt to any mistakes that you've made, or especially if you've done something that's even better than you normally do, you have to adapt to that and know how to attack your routine. When you finish the routine, you then I normally just debrief with my coach and say how the competition and how the routine went, and then I will be going in and visualising for my next routine and moving on.
Then I guess there are others who people will look out for, you know, their main competitors. With you in 2016 it was Rosanna McLennan, who was the gold medalist from London 2012, who went on to win again gold in Rio. You know, what will people, especially in Newt 1 and 2, be thinking about people who they're likely to be getting very you know, close to?
Yeah, it's one of those sports that's, it's not like hockey or football where you actually can attack your opponent and you can, you know, tackle them and try and play those kind of mind games. With this, it's very individual and it's very personal. You just want to get on that trampoline and be in the complete moment. As soon as you start thinking about the competitor, when you're on that trampoline, you just want it to be you, the trampoline and the air. You don't want to be thinking about the judges or the competitors or where you're going to be finishing, because you need to make those split-second decisions, and to be able to just accept what's going on in your mind, you need to move on.
Well, here we go. We're about to start for the next section of categories: Newt 6, Newt 4 and Newt 3. We've had Newt 5 already, so we're moving on to these now. Just to quickly run through these, so Xing Chakwan from the University of Sheffield, Katie Smith from Uni of, Alexa Pitch from Sheffield Hallam, Harriet Tomlin from Uni of, Hannah Fryer from Uni of, Jess Collins from Uni of, Emily Trim from Sheffield Hallam, Grace Pollack from Uni of, Rebecca Hawley from Uni of, Joanna Gray from Uni of, Megan Ord from Sheffield Hallam, and Theo Barefoots, that's a great name that, from the University of Sheffield in Newt 6, as the black and gold to the left of us over there go through their routine. Before the routine, almost buoying themselves up for, and as we see the maroon in the other corner do exactly the same. So Newt 6 then, Bronnie, what are we expecting from this one?
So Newt 6, again, you have the choice of doing 2 different routines. None of these routines have somersaults in, and they might have the front landing in. So we've actually seen, unfortunately, we've seen a mistake where you've seen someone going onto their front, but this one is actually planned. So if they choose to do the second routine on here, set B, they'll have a front landing. If they choose set A, we'll see the swivel hips again, we'll see some seat landings, but no somersaults. So this, hopefully, we'll see really, really good execution for an easier routine, or we'll see beginners that are just having a go, and you know they might have only just started trampolining. So it's going to be interesting to see what we see.
Well, here we go with Xing Chakwan from the University of Sheffield to start his routine in this category, Newt 6.
Okay, so he's actually got quite a lot of height for a Newt 6 competitor. Starting with full twist, he's lost a little bit of height there. So seat landing to feet, the tuck shape when you're bending your legs, and here's the front landing to feet. So I think, unfortunately, he's quite disappointed with that routine because he lost all of his height after the first skill. It will be interesting to see if they count that first skill, because he did manage to get both feet on the trampoline, but it's just depending on if the chair decides it was both at the same time before he then rebounded. So you have to have 2 feet on the trampoline if you're landing on your feet. If it's a 1-footed landing, which they might count as, he won't not get marked out of any skills. He'll get 0.
And again with the categories, 10 moves, and if they don't make the number of moves for 10, it's marked out of that number of moves as well.
So unfortunately the mistake that he made was in skill 1, and if he didn't land it, if the chair says that he didn't land it, it won't be marked.
So next up is Katie Smith from the University of Sheffield in this Newt 6 category. You got her as one of your ones to watch. What do you expect of Katie here?
Yeah,
Pressure on?
I think she's got the form and the execution, a lot of confidence. You can already see she's got the reach in her skills. Half twist start, straddle, seat landing to feet. She's got really good form here. Just a little bit bend on there, half twist there. Half twist to seat, again bending of the legs but still keeping form and control. Unfortunately that ending, she had a little bit of travel there, so the HD score will be a little bit lower than she would have hoped. And there was a few little twitches of the leg bending, which might be to do with nerves, and also if she's lost balance, it's sometimes to get balance back. So overall I think that routine was quite solid for a Newt 6 competitor. Just unfortunately you could see that she had lots of control and she knew what she was doing, but she just had a little bit of mistakes which she had to adapt to, and that's where you see the twitching of the leg when they should have been together.
So next up for Sheffield Hallam is Alexa Pitch, and somebody who, well, you can tell by the face paint in terms of, you know, the competition here between Uni of and Sheffield Hallam, getting to that varsity stage around this time of year once again.
Okay, so she's chosen to start with a full twist, straddle, seat landing half twist to feet, pike, again seat drop to feet, a tuck jump, and then here's we've got the front landing to feet, and she'll finish there. So that was 10 skills, really nice, really well controlled, stayed quite central. So I don't think she'll get marked down very much, but I think she'll hopefully work on for the next year. If she's got another year to go at uni, it would just be that just straightening up the legs just a little bit more, so that she shows a little bit more body tension. That was it. You know, she showed really good control over what she was doing. It's just getting those tiny little bit extra, so the judges can see that.
If you could compare almost what Katie and Alexa just did.
I'm not sure, because Alexa had a little bit more of she showed more control, but she made mistakes, whereas that was just all the way through quite consistent, but almost not as shining.
So this is Harriet Tomlin from the University of Sheffield, and that was a very quick routine there.
Yeah.
Complete all the moves there.
Yeah. So the Newt 6, because people are jumping lower and the routines are a little bit easier, they won't be jumping as high, and you know, they're beginners, so height comes with confidence and practice and strength building, and obviously more experience, so they will last a little bit shorter, even though they're 10 skills long. So that was a really nice routine from her. She, again, just that little bit extra body tension that you'll get from more experience. So a lot of the time it's just you get used to the trampoline at this stage. It shows, you know, how many hours people put in to make those tiny little bit of changes. You know, from someone with not pointed toes to someone with pointed toes makes it a little bit of a difference when it comes to the whole 10 skills.
Well, next up for the University of Sheffield is Hannah Fryer, and will Hannah Fryer be flying through the air well?
So she's jumping really high. She's just losing a little bit of control there, but she's enjoying it. You can see the smile on her face. And the cheer from the crowd.
You can hear by the crowd there. It's incredible, actually, for that one.
Yeah, so that was, you know, she jumped really high. She had a lot of fun with that routine, but unfortunately she's just lost a bit of control. You could see that with the twitching of her legs and the swinging of her arms to try and get that balance back after landing on her body landings. So, yeah, it won't be as strongly scored, but, you know, this is all what Varsity is about, is like having fun, getting out there, especially with like the Newt 6 trampoline, and you're just complete beginners, and it's a new sport for you sometimes, so it's nice to get people to go out there and have a smile on their face, even if they're making mistakes.
Well, just to give you an update on the score so far, so Xing Chak 1 was 2.15, Katie Smith 23.5, Alexa Pitch 24.9, and Harriet Tomlin 23.95. And this is Jess Collins for the University of Sheffield.
So she's finishing her routine now with a front landing to feet. Actually, though, had really good confidence going into that last skill. She had a little bit of a wobble in the start of the routine, but gained it back really well to finish with a really nice front landing to feet. So she's obviously been working on that last skill quite a lot in training. So I think she did quite well.
With the scoring, do you think more about the execution or the horizontal displacement when you're going through the routine?
Yeah, they come hand in hand. So if you're doing the correct technique, you should be in the middle, and it will allow you to have that time in the air to be able to perform it well. So when you think about execution, the horizontal displacement is part of that. It used to be part of the judges used to judge the travel, whereas now it's been split apart so that a machine often in the international competitions judges it.
So this is Emily Trim from Sheffield Hallam.
She just had a brilliant straddle there, like really good tension. She might be like a dancer or a gymnast, really good, showing really good flexibility, and finishing with a full twist there rather than the front drop. Yeah, really nice. She was very well composed. She had really good like body tension. You can see like with the shapes, she was very flexible, and that, you know, you get judged on how tight you make your shape. So she should get some good scores there. I'm not sure how the horizontal displacement was then. It looked a little bit off, but she might have just been on the edges quite a few times rather than actually completely out of the box. So it still might score well.
with HD, when you were judged at Rio 2016, it was based on difficulty, execution and flight time. HD's coming in as a new scoring format almost now. Does that put so much more pressure on the person on the trampoline to get it right?
I think it's just it's the same approach. When you get on the trampoline, you want to do the best routine you can, and horizontal displacement was always part of being judged. It's just now it's not by human bias, it's by a machine.
Here is the University of Sheffield now.
So we've got a really nice line out. This is one of the first people that have done this. Seat landing, tuck shape, and who got front landing. That was a really, really lovely routine there.
Well, you can tell by the cheer how good a routine that was from Grace Pollack there.
Yeah, so
and you had Grace as one of your ones to watch again.
I did, and she didn't disappoint. You know, you could see that she had that little more control than everybody else, and especially in the front landing, she had that straight shape going in rather than bent legs, and that was really nice, really, really nice controlled routine. Point your toes, legs together. The shapes are really tight when she needed them. She started to put in the line out, so that's when you make the shape and you line out into a straight position. Which we saw in a few of the Newt 5 with the somersaults. So this was nice to see. I think she was one of the first people to show more lineouts in this routine.
So here is Rebecca Hawley from the University of Sheffield. After this, just 3 athletes to go in this category.
So half twist, straddle jump, seat landing to feet, half twist, pike, half twist to seat drop, half twist out, tuck, and full twist to finish.
Not too much height on that, but in terms of the quality of the technique, it was there, do you think? Or
yeah, no, it was a really nice controlled routine. I'm just trying to go in my head if she did the right moves or not, because it looked a little bit different, but I need to have a quick read of it. I think it was right. It just she looked a little bit confused when he finished, so it made me doubt myself.
So far the scores. So Jess Collins, 23.15. Emily Trim, Sheffield Hallam, 24.55. Grace Pollack, 25. And then Joanna Gray, 16.8 there. So.
Sorry, say that again. So who's been taken? So we've just been informed that it was Joanna. Sorry, that was not Rebecca on the trampoline. It was Joanna. So we've had a
Joanna Gray, yeah.
Yeah. So we've had someone that's withdrawn. So this is now.
So next up for Sheffield Hallam, it's Megan Ord. Megan Ord next.
Okay, so she just leant back a little bit on that seat landing, but she's regained control. She's very springy, and finishing with the full twist. Yeah, back in the middle. Had a little bit of travel, but she got it back quite well. Really nice. Again, quite good body tension there. I think the HD score might be a little bit down just from one mistake, but overall I thought it was a really nice routine.
So on the trampoline, when you are in the air, what's your first thought when you're starting a routine? Is it to get it right for every single move that you've got, or do you expect certain moves that you're actually doing in the air are going to come off better than other ones?
When we've done so many hours of training, so you know which part of the routine can be a little bit shaky compared to others. But when you're competing and performing a routine, you normally think we think of one skill at a time.
Right, so last up in this category for the University of Sheffield, Theo Barefoot.
Okay, so you can see here just not quite getting the balance that he needs. So his limbs are everywhere, just trying to regain that balance in the routine. He's just presented. He forgot to present on the trampoline. Get off the trampoline, presented. So he's quite a character. Yeah, he did well. You can tell that he's a beginner. He hasn't quite refined the form yet, but he's getting the tricks done. And he's just, he's swinging his arms and his legs and he's bending them to get the balance and control, which is something that just comes with practice and training and a little bit more experience.
So that is the Newt 6 category completed now with Theo's routine there. Right, moving on to the Newt 4 category, and ones to watch here, Bryony.
Yeah, so here I've just said about Cecilia, who's a coach at the Sheffield Hallam and obviously studies there. She also has coached at Graves, which is where I train, so I know her quite well. She's got really lovely form, so it'll be nice to see her routine. I don't think I've actually seen her compete before, so it'd be quite nice.
So first up for the University of Sheffield, so we have Thomas Still, then we have India Twig, Hayley Cliff for Sheffield Hallam, Uni of, it's Juliet Smith, then Liam O'Keefe from the Uni of, Cecilia Saber from Sheffield Hallam, Charlie Nevin, Isabel Ruff, and then Leah Dakers. But this is Thomas Still's routine.
Okay, so we're starting with a tuck back, straddle. He's not quite happy with that. I think he just, the next skill in that routine was a Barani, a tuck back to seat. So he might not have felt quite confident to take off for that skill because of the travel. So he made a slight mistake, and just to go for the tuck back to seat, he might have been too close to the mat, or he might have felt like he couldn't do it. So that's probably why he stopped there.
So when you say travel, that's the flight time in the air, or?
The travel is the displacement. So he travelled quite far along the trampoline, so he didn't land in the middle. So he got a little bit closer to the mat, and because the next somersault was going to be back somersault to seat, he might have been a little bit worried about that because he wasn't in the position he wanted to be. So it might have just come, that's probably mental preparation.
So next up is the University of Sheffield, it's India Twig.
So she's getting a lot of height now. Lovely straight back, straddle. Here's the tuck Brani, that's the front somersault with the half twist. Good sharp exit. Pike, we've got the line outs now. Backline half twist, tuck and front somersault. You could see at the end of that was a really nice routine. You could see at the end of that front somersault that she was trying to spot that landing. So like I've said before, it's a blind landing, so she came out early to kind of spot it as much as she could. What we can see now in Newt 4 is people starting to compete different shapes in their somersaults. So before we saw just a front somersault, back somersault in the tuck position. Now we're seeing the straight position for that straight shape that she started to jump at the start of her routine was a straight back somersault. So obviously you need a little bit more power and more control to be able to do that because you can't adjust it as well. So obviously when you make a tuck shape when you're somersaulting, you spin faster.
So this is Hayley Cliff of Sheffield Hallam.
So that's really nice straight back straddle with a line out. Tuck Brani, a little bit out of control there. She's regained it really well. Tuck jump, half twist, pike jump. There's a lovely backdrop there. Tuck jump and finishing with a front somersault. So the reason why that was a really good routine again. The reason why I liked that backdrop half twist was because you could see that she was just flying through the air, really like absolutely straight. Just no twitches of the legs, no bending of the legs, just really good body tension. It just shows really nice control, and she lifted well into it. Again, we saw the straight back at the start, and you want to hold that straight line for as long as possible, which the girl before, she just broke form just slightly too early compared to this girl now from Hallam.
So next up is Juliet Smith from the University of Sheffield, about to start her routine now.
So straight back, straddle, there's the tuck Brani, touch up half twist. She's going a little bit outside of the box there, but regain it back in the middle, touch up with a line out, and tuck front somersault.
Well, you can tell by the crowd's reaction there, they enjoyed that one for certain.
Yeah, I would suspect that maybe she does some sort of dance or gymnastics before, just from you can see by the kind of the arms and the style that she has. So I actually don't know, so I might ask her at the end if she's done that before, because a lot of time you see gymnasts coming transferring into trampolining, they've got this certain style that you can tell. In the tuck Brani, which was her third skill, that's the front somersault with a half twist. We want to be seeing when they come out from the tuck shape, we want to see a straight line with her arms by their side, but she brought her arms up, so she might lose points for that.
Well, here for the University of Sheffield, it's Vice-Captain Liam O'Keefe.
straight back. Again, straddle. There's the Trampoline. Regain control again. Lovely straight shape in those backdrop half twist out. Little bit fast. Oh, bless. I think he's been working hard to get that Barani in the routine, and you can hear the crowd shouting from here to say go on after he's done the Trampoline. So the Trampoline in there, the straight back and the Trampoline are the hardest skills in that routine, and you can see that the Trampoline, the person holding the mat was, you know, quite close with it. So he's done a really good job of regaining control and keeping form as well. So the Trampoline is probably the new skill there. But he's done so well to get through that. And then going for the front somersault at the end, he probably had that little bit extra adrenaline and excitement of getting that far. That he spun so fast, but he did really well of coming out and landing and not going onto the mat.
So next up for Sheffield Hallam is Cecilia Saber, the one to watch in this category that you put out. So here is Cecilia's routine now.
So there's the tuck back, we've got a kick out, just a little bit of travel. She's brought it back, so the tuck back to the half twist out, really reaching well, got line outs, half twist front drop, and the pike shape, and finishing with a pike Barani. So really nice routine. She just made a few mistakes at the start, which I think she'll be a little bit disappointed with, just because she travelled outside of the box and had to regain control. And the pike Barani at the end was just a little bit unstable, but she did so well to keep form. I think, you know, she'll be probably a little bit disappointed with the mistakes at the start, but actually really happy with the routine overall. You can see that she kept keeping the form and the line out, so she was really sharp. So in the tuck shape especially, you can see she made the shape, and when she kicked out, she was really sharp with her straight shape. It was the speed of transitioning from the tuck to straight was really fast.
So, next up for the University of Sheffield is Charlie Nevin, and Charlie's about to start her routine right now.
So straight back straddle, a little bit of travel outside the box, tuck Barani, back in the box, half twist jump, pike with the line out, and we finish with tuck and front somersault at the end. So good. I think that's, you know, quite a normal routine to see at this level, where you can see that they have gained control of the trampoline, but they've not quite got that refined form that you might see in some others in the higher levels. But you get the line outs, you're seeing the shapes, you're seeing control. I think that's quite a nice routine to see at this level.
So next up for the University of Sheffield is Isabel Ruff. And just quickly on the score so far, Summer Steele 4.35, India Twig 25.3, Hayley Cliff 25.2, Juliet Smith 24.6, Leah McKeith 23.5 so far. But this is Isabel Ruff from the University of Sheffield.
Straight back, straddle, really nice form. You can see by pointed toes, straight legs when they need to be straight, half twist jump. That pike shape was really good. Really, you can see the tension in her legs and the kick. That was a really nice routine. So she's the, I think she's the inclusion sec, or the social media, I think she's the inclusion sec for the University of Sheffield. So trying to get everybody involved in the club, and she just performed that routine really nicely. I think that'll score really well. She has what I was saying about the refined. So she's refined it. So she started to have that body tension in her legs all the time.
Does that come with time, or is that something which some people might find natural at first?
Yeah. So it comes with just control of the trampoline. I keep saying the word control, but it takes a lot of like practice and understanding of how the trampoline works and where your body is in the air. And she just showed that really well.
So the last person in this Newt 4 category, Leah Dakers from Sheffield Hallam.
So straight back, a little bit loose in the shape. She wanted to be really straight. Tuck Barani's nice. Tuck shape, she's got a really nice slow style. So she has control of the trampoline. Just want to see that refined edge. Tuck jump and front somersault, really nice controlled. You can tell she kept her height all the way through the routine, and that's what you want to see, is that height maintenance, and she had that really well. I think what she was missing there was just the sharpness. So coming out from the tuck shape into a straight shape on the kickouts for the tuck brani, the tuck shape and the front somersault was a little bit slower. But she did make the straight shape, she did line out, it was just a little bit slow. But what she did have was that really nice lift and rhythm of the trampoline routine.
So here is the Newt 3 category. So we've had Newt 6 and 4 in this section, Newt 3 now. And this is Freya Vasey from the University of Sheffield. Then we'll have Charlotte Sweet, who is the Uni of Captain, Georgia Wright from Sheffield Hallam, Alice Oldfield from Uni of, and then finishing it off with Kate Williams. But this is Freya Vasey.
Okay, so there's the 3/4 back to feet. Straddle with a line out, we've got a pike back, pike brani, pike jump, half twist gaining control, tuck jump with the line out, again tuck back with line out and tuck brani. Yeah, really good routine, great start to the Newt 3. She stayed in the middle, she had really good, a really good horizontal displacement score, I should think. But I think the branis, she just needed to twist a little bit more because you could see she was a little bit wonky. And that's just getting the twist at the right time and the right speed so that she finishes it off.
Well, here we go. Here is the captain of the Uni of Charlotte Sweet. And I guess, you know, when you are the captain of a club like this, the pressure is on to lead from the front, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. But also you have the support of the whole team. You know, Charlotte is like her last name, she's a very, very sweet person. And you know, everybody in the team is really supportive of her, and because she supports them back. You know, it's a really nice friendship that she has with the whole team. So although she has the pressure, she has massive support.
So here is Charlotte Sweet.
So straight back, really nice timing of the trampoline. Tuck back to seat, little bit of travel, but regain control again. Pike jump, pike back, pike brani, lovely lift into these skills. And she finishes with the 3/4 front to feet. So this is where we start seeing the body language now. You can tell by the sound of the crowd.
By the crowd's reaction,
yeah.
That was insane, yeah.
So everybody loves her in this team. Like she's the mum of the team. She looks after everybody. She makes sure everybody's okay. She gives the pep talks before every competition. She's always there for everybody. So she deserves that, you know, the loud cheers of the crowd.
2 hugs immediately. She came off the trampoline there. Right, for Sheffield Hallam now is Georgia Wright, and we'll be about halfway through this Newt 3 category so far. And with the Newt 3 category, these are the people who you would expect to have that refinement and, you know, have that quality to...
Yeah, it's quite mixed actually, because some people choose to learn the skills and just have that, they have the control of the trampoline, but they don't quite have the refinement and the body tension. So she's starting here with 3/4 back. They've got a really nice line out of these pike back, pike brani, so that's transitioning from the shape into the straight position. Half twist, tuck jump, tuck back with great kick out again, tuck brani. That was a really lovely routine to watch. So what I'm saying about the kick outs and the line outs is that when you want to get these, one for the judges and also to kind of have awareness and be able to prepare for the next skill a little bit better. She did that really nicely, so she went into really deep tuck and pike shapes when she was doing those skills, and then exited into the straight position really quickly and really, I keep having to say the word control.
Control, yeah. But I guess with that control, you get that expectation and reality in your head almost, that mental side comes into play that you know that you are not just in control, I say control myself actually, control the situation, but also there is that reassurance around it as well.
Yeah, it gives you that little bit extra time to prepare, and also you are confident that you're strong enough to stay in the middle of the trampoline and execute the routine that you want to.
So this is Alice Oldfield from the University of Sheffield.
So she's getting a lot of height here to start her routine. So I suspect it'll be straight back, but if it's a 3/4 back, very impressive 3/4 back. There we go, so straight back, somersault, straddle with a nice line out. She's just travelling. Unfortunately, she had a bit of a crash there, but she's okay.
But the crowd's obviously cheering as one.
She's all right. She's just a bit disappointed, but yeah, she just lost a. You know, when it comes to height, if you jump higher, it's harder to stay in the middle because if you make a slight mistake, you're going to be travelling further. Just because it's like balance beam precision. The higher you go, the more precise you have to be with your jumping. So by jumping high there, she had to be, she was going for like almost that extra form and execution, but unfortunately it did pay off, that risk.
So with the height of what people are doing here, how does that relate to the height that you get at the Olympics then?
Yeah, so here, especially in the Newts where it's people just starting out, it's a lot lower. You know, you don't expect people to jump to double-decker bus heights right from the start.
So here is Kate Williams for the University of Sheffield to finish off this Newt 3 category.
So straight back start, didn't quite hold the straight line, but now she's getting back in the middle. She's a really sharp gymnast, working quite fast. She's lost a little bit of height. Finishes with the 3/4 front to feet. So she's
a smile on her face at the end.
She's laughing at herself a little bit. You know, it wasn't the routine that she'd probably trained and wanted to get, but she tried to maintain it and get back into the centre after that little bit of a mistake at the start with the travel. You could tell that she knows what she's doing because she's kicking out sharp and like saying from the tuck shape into the straight shape. She's doing those really well and really fast, but she just started to lose a little bit of height, and that caused the rhythm of the trampoline, the rhythm of the routine. It kind of just got quicker and quicker and quicker, and she ran out of space, and that's probably why she started to laugh at the end.
So just quickly on the scores there in that category, Freya Vasey 24.35, Charlotte Sweet 24.6, Georgia Wright 24.65, Alice Oldfield 5.1, and Kate Williams 24.35. So overall in those 3 categories, Newt 6, Newt 4 and Newt 3, what were your overall impressions from that?
Yeah, I think the overall impression is that it's a really close competition. You can see that the scores are really close as well, so not only are
decimal points between them, really.
You know, even it was a 0.05, which is like the smallest you can get in this competition. So that's whoever's first and second, the person is so close. It's ridiculously close. And you can see there's a wide range of abilities here, and that's what you expect from Varsity, and it's really exciting to see because some people have just started out at university, never done trampolining before, and now they're starting to progress through the levels. Other people have done gymnastics before, or they've done trampolining before, and they've returned to the sport, so they almost have that muscle memory that they used to have, but they're just trying to regain it. So it's interesting to see. You can, like I was saying about one of the girls that might have done gymnastics beforehand, you see that style and they have that awareness of their body, and dancers are quite good when they transfer to trampolining too. So you just get this massive mix of people and abilities and how people train as well. Some people go for tricks, some people just want to go for the execution and not play it safe but be in their comfort zone. So it's a nice competition to watch because of that.
Well, we have Newt 2 and Newt 1 categories to go. They should be really the experts of the trampolining field this afternoon. But we go back to our presentation team, Alfie and Nicole.
Thanks, Tim. We are once again joined by our Varsity expert, Varsity Dave. So, Dave, looking at the weeks ahead, what are the standout events that people should be keeping their eyes on?
Well, I think there are certain results that the universities are going to want sorts of revenge for from last year. So the one that strikes out to me is Rugby Union men's ones. That finished University of Sheffield 26, Sheffield Hallam 25. Hallam had a conversion to win that match right to the death of the game last year, and they didn't take it and they lost the game, and I think that's going to be hurting them this year, and they're going to want to come back from that, put in a better performance and take the victory. Some of the other results that I think are going to be interesting, things like Ultimate Frisbee finishing 8-all last year. I think they'll want to have a winner this time round. It's quite unsatisfactory to have a draw. Some of the other results I mentioned earlier, ice hockey, University of Sheffield feeling quite hopeful of their chances this year, having not won for about 16 or 17 years. Some results were quite one-sided, things like men's ones water polo. The University of Sheffield won that 15-0, but Sheffield Hallam ladies won that quite convincingly. So there's a lot of good things to look forward to, and I think it should be a great 10 days of sport.
And what have you thought so far about the competition today? Obviously we've seen some really, really good routines put in. What have your thoughts been?
I think it's been a great display of competition. People have been really confident to go up there, perhaps they haven't been doing trampolining too long, and to have a go. And some people, it hasn't gone as amazingly as they would have liked, but they've still given it a go. They've gone out there, they've tried their best, and that's all that matters, really.
With everything kicking off, it's all going around campus. Campus is getting a lot more involved with Varsity. How has the general feeling been throughout with students?
I think it's going to be a really great atmosphere. I think a lot of students are going to be really excited about the prospect that Varsity can bring them. and I think they're going to be talking to each other, their peers. We've got things like the Arts Tower, which has Varsity written all over it, and I think that's going to be a great experience for all students. You want to be part of Varsity as a student. I know a lot of people I haven't spoken to are you taking part in Varsity, and that's the spirit you want, really.
That spirit of friendly competition that really drives the whole sport, really, the whole competition, the whole atmosphere of all of April and March that we're seeing here. Something that makes Sheffield as a university city quite unique, I think.
Yeah, it is, because other universities do have Varsity, don't get me wrong, but this is one of the biggest varsities going here in Sheffield. We have some great arenas. We have Hillsborough, we have Sheffield Arena, and that makes it one of the biggest and one of the best, because I think other universities, they have their varsities, they're just sort of on a sports field, but we have that atmosphere, these really great arenas, and that's what makes Sheffield Varsity so special.
I think it is really special, like you say, that the athletes are able to compete in some world-class arenas. You know, you've not mentioned Ponds Forge, of course, you know, the EIS. I think having those sports facilities here in Sheffield is a real boost to some of these athletes who maybe are picking up sports recently, maybe, you know, looking to take it forwards, and they get that experience of competing in world-class arenas and in front of huge crowds as well, having that big atmosphere.
It is, yeah, because not all the students that take part in Varsity are going to go on to become professional athletes, and this will be the pinnacle of their sporting careers. So you have to consider that they're taking this as a matter of pride. They'll have their family and friends watching online, perhaps watching in the stands, and it's a great moment as a student to be able to take part in these events watched by so many people.
And obviously Hallam Sports Park is another massive fixture in the Varsity list. What can we expect to see there?
Well, at Hallam Sports Park, you've got various sports. Of course, you've got Rugby Union, Rugby League taking place there as well. We've got the hockey and ultimate frisbee, and we've got the men's 2s, 3s and 4s, as well as the ladies' football matches. We'll bring you live commentary on men's 2s on forward. So I think it's going to be a great day of sport. Looking at some of the results from last year, the University of Sheffield men's 1s Rugby League finished 56-14. Quite a comfortable win. You'll be interested to see whether Sheffield Hallam can make that a bit of a closer
Sheffield
match
Varsity
this time
2018.
Hallam
Roundup
men's
of
won
Wednesday, the
men's
18th of
football
April.
last year,
Hallam Sports
5-0,
Park Day.
again quite convincingly, and the overall score of Varsity last year was 45-34. If you think some of those results can be made a bit closer, turned around, perhaps surprise results, then we could see one of the closest results for Varsity we have in a few
Sports
years.
Park, there's a lot of points up for grabs there, and right now we're going to take a look back at Hallam Sports Park from last year.
Sheffield Varsity 2018. Roundup of Wednesday, the 18th of April. Hallam Sports Park Day. There were 15 matches held at Hallam Sports Park on the edge of Sheffield, and there was everything to play for. The women's rugby kicked off in the afternoon, with both sides putting on an excellent display, despite the bright sunshine and strong wind. In the end, it was Hallam who came out on top after a solid second half display. The men's game got underway at 6 p.m, with Uni starting strongly against a formidable Hallam defensive line. Hallam came back fighting at the very end after Uni had a player sent off to the sin bin, but they were able to hold on with a final score of 26-25 to University. There were many other fixtures that took place throughout the day, including football, ultimate frisbee, golf and cricket, as well as the climbing elsewhere in the city. Some of the final scores on the day: in the men's football 2s, Uni of 0, Hallam 5. Women's football 2s, Uni of 0, Hallam 1. Women's ultimate 1s, Uni of 12, Hallam 5. In the men's ultimate 1s, it was an 8-all draw. Men's cricket 1s, Hallam were victorious by 110 runs to 94, and at the golf, the points were shared 6-all. That left the overall Varsity score on the day at 13-12 to Uni of.
Hallam Sports Park proves to be where the points are picked up this year as well, and we are joined now by our team captains of the Trampolining at University of Sheffield and Team Hallam. How's the event going for you guys?
Really nice. Like, it's just like it's chilled. Everybody gets along. Like, it is a competition, but like it's not necessarily like a.
Yeah, there's like a lot of mingling like around the trampolines, which is nice. We've had less of that in other years. I think this year we've like both teams have come together really well, which is nice.
Yeah. And everyone's doing really well.
Yeah, it's going really well.
And how pleased are you to have kind of the atmosphere generated by the fans? You know, having Forge down here as well to cover it. Obviously, Bryony Page is down. How much of a boost does that give you guys competing?
So much,
a little bit of pressure though, like just a little bit. Like.
Yeah, I think it's more stressful, but it like just builds to the atmosphere. So I think already, like normally it's a lot quieter because there's, you know, teams at either side. But this year we've got so many people watching, and obviously the fact that it's live is crazy. Like parents are messaging, being like, "Oh, well done," whereas they don't normally see. So yeah, it's really cool.
It's nice.
And you know, obviously trampolining, it's one of the first events this year, you know, kind of opening Varsity. What are you guys looking forward to for the rest of Varsity? Obviously, this is an exceptional event, we're having a great time here, but what are like any other highlights that you might go and have a look
we
at?
know what we're going to say.
Yeah,
Ice
it's
hockey.
always ice hockey, always.
I just feel like every team just loves ice hockey. I think because it is the last one, I mean, no, last year was different, but normally because it's the last one, it's like it's all done and dusted, really. Because normally Hallam win ice hockey, don't they? So it's normally not the pressure, and everyone can just come together as a team and just be so happy at how we did, whether we got the point or not.
It's just a good atmosphere,
Yeah,
because like everybody's getting so into it. It's like not a sport, well, personally, it's not a sport I go too much, and then actually go into it, and I don't understand it, but I'm like, yeah, go team.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got the 1s and 2s coming up next. Who are the trampolinists from both of your teams that we should be keeping an eye out for?
It's hard, yeah.
This year's Hand and Ralph.
The two boys in Newt 1, they are both exceptional, very beautiful to watch.
You'll be like...
I don't even know what half the moves are, and I do trampolining. They're just so amazing. But yeah, they're to look out for. I mean, to be fair, everybody in those top two categories are absolutely insane. Yeah, so yeah, everyone.
And obviously, you two are quite friendly altogether. Like, is that something like, do the teams like come together at any point?
Yeah,
we usually do like joint socials, don't we? But, like, I think in general, like we said, we were just saying before, like we started uni the same year, and like, I think since the beginning we just kind of clicked and got along.
I think with trampolining, you go to, so we do a Northern League, and you go to, there's 5 in the Northern League competitions, 1 held here that we normally do joint together, and you meet all of the other unis, so all of the Northern unis come together, and that's just a massive bonding time because you go Saturday to Sunday, and you go on a night out as well. So you get to meet everybody, and I think that's mainly how we've got even closer as clubs. But it's really nice. We were just saying actually how this is definitely the best year that we've been like really mingled, which has been really nice.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to like come and chat with us, and good luck for the rest of the competition today.
Thank you.
It's been lovely speaking to you.
Thank you.
And another sport that, sorry about that, another sport that doesn't normally get like that much attention is of course the sailing, and we can have a look at what happened last year.
Sheffield Varsity 2018 roundup of Saturday 21st of April. Rowing started early on Saturday morning with the 8s racing first. Conditions seemed good with the clouds clearing just before the first race got underway. University were the happier of the two sides, winning all races at Damflask Reservoir. 16 miles away, over at Windscar Reservoir, the sailing racing started around 12 o'clock. Uni won the 3 match races that see one boat face off against another. Uni also won the team races, where each team filled a fleet of 3 boats to secure a clean sweep on the day. Final scores: in the men's rowing, Uni 4, Hallam 0. Women's rowing, Uni 5, Hallam 0. In the sailing, Uni 5, Hallam 0. This left the varsity overall score at Uni 23.5, Hallam 13.5.
It's quite the friendly atmosphere here at Goodwin, do you agree?
Definitely, yeah.
Yes.
Both teams mingling, having a great time.
And something that, one of the events that kind of do get the teams really rallied up and going is the boxing event. What can people expect on Thursday when the boxing goes live?
Well, I think what's great about boxing is it's in the octagon, so you've got that kind of atmosphere under the lights, as it were, so it gets a bit more charged. You've got 2 sets of fans who are absolutely pumped and just cheering their teams on, and of course some really great boxing action. The quality of boxing in Sheffield is so high. You've got some teams who are, some athletes who are coached by some of the best coaches around in the UK. So I think it'll be a night of excellent boxing, but also a night where you can go really show your colours, get all those chants out, and have a great time in the crowd.
Well, right now, let's jog our memories of what happened last year when boxing played a part in Varsity 2018.
Sheffield Varsity 2018. Roundup. At the boxing, an external match between University of Sheffield and the University of Hull kicked off the night. There was also the first ever female bout in varsity history. The scores on the night were level, just before the final matchup, leaving a winner-takes-all bout. That final bout was a unanimous victory to Hallam, with the final score on the night of Uni 4, Hallam 5. This left the overall varsity score tied at 3 points each.
We are almost into our final events here at the Trampolining. Can you talk us a bit through about the last couple of skill ranges that we're going to be seeing today?
Yeah, so these are the Newt's 1s and 2s. So these are the best of the best at the minute. They'll be doing a bit more free routines than what we saw. So whereas before we were kind of seeing everyone doing the same routine in kind of a similar order, now we've got them able to choose from a list of skills, but in their own ways. So it'll be more interpretive and a little bit more difficult in the skills. So more flips, more difficult flips, more spins. So hopefully something really exciting for all of those viewers at home to get their teeth into.
Perfect. And I think we are ready right now to head back over to Tim Adams and Bryony Page.
Cheers, Alfie. Cheers, Nicole. Right, Newt 2 and 1, Bryony. These are, as Alfie said, just then the best of the best. Can we expect that? I guess is the obvious question.
Yes. So with Newt 2 and Newt 1, they now have to make up their routine. So they have to follow a certain number of elements, but it's up to them how they choose to compose their routine and what skills they actually choose. So in Newt 2, they have to do at least 7 somersaults that are more than 270 degrees of rotation. So that's basically 6 somersaults and maybe a body landing somersault. And then they have to include either one of these 4 skills. So we've already seen a 3/4 front somersault. That's the one where you go forwards and land on your back. But you have to follow it with a ball out. So that's a somersault after that, from your back landing a somersault. Or they do the 3/4 back somersault, which is where you land on your front. You go backwards and land on your front, and then do a Cody, which is a back somersault from your front.
So there's more creativity, but there's extra pressure because the difficulty just intensifies dramatically in this one then.
Yeah, so this one, the somersaults from the back or the front, you're actually adding a little bit more rotation, and you have, because you're going from a body landing, it's harder to generate the rotation. Or they can choose to go for the twisting skills, which is a full back or a Rudy. So we might see, so instead of a Barani, which is a front somersault with a half twist in, a Rudy is a front somersault with a 1.5 twist in. So you take off facing one way, you end up facing the other way, but you've done 1.5 twists to do that.
So where do the names come from? Barani, Rudy, are they after people? Or
I have no idea actually where they come from. I know that for example, a Miller, that is a triple twisting double back somersault. That is named after Miller. His last name is Miller. That he was the first person to compete that skill on the trampoline, so it was named after him. I'm not sure about the Rudy or the Barani. I'm not sure how they came about. But the full is quite self-explanatory. That's another one of the skills that they might be choosing to put in their routine. And that's a back somersault with a full twist. So it's called a full, just for short.
With more creativity now, is there not just higher expectation, but more thought process going in their minds as well? Because, they've got choice, and would they regret not picking a certain routine if they mess up one, for example?
So they will have trained and practiced different combinations of skills to compose their routine. And at this point in your the trampoline in development, you'll start to have preferences. So you'll have preferences before, but they now start to become a little bit more prevalent. So some people prefer doing a somersault off their back. Some people prefer doing a somersault off their front. Other people prefer twisting skills, other people prefer more rotation in the skills. So it just kind of depends on how you progress in trampolining, depending on how you put through your routine.
And with the routines, that progression, from the Newt 2 and 1 level, where did you go from that after leaving university to actually getting to an Olympic stage and then making obviously the final and then getting a silver medal at 2016?
Yeah, so the routine choice, we have to do that for our set routine. We have a set routine, which is what these guys are competing today. So this is the easier routine where the focus is really on execution and horizontal displacement here. The second routine is now you start to make this up, and it's although you have to perform it really well, it's now into difficult skills. So you're adding in all the hard skills that you can do and the best way that you can do them, and the combinations you've got to think about them. We go front somersault, back somersault, front somersault, back somersault. So the routine construction becomes preference to what skills you prefer.
Is it more unpredictable now, where it was before front and back, front and back, and now it's front, double twist, back?
It depends on
the routine.
Yeah, it depends on the athlete really, and how they've been trained, and also their coach, and if the coach has any preferences as well. But I think now you'll start to see people. It will normally go straight back, straight Barani, so that's straight front, straight Barani, which is forward, then pike, so you go straight back, straight Barani, pike, back, Barani, tap, Barani. So you'll start seeing the back, forward, back, forward, and then finishing maybe with you'll probably normally see the back landing with the somersault after it, or the front landing with the back somersault after it. You'll see that either at the start of the routine or the end of the routine. And it's unlikely to see it in the middle.
With the routines, the roles of the coaches as well. The choice of the creativity in these final two categories, Newt 2 and Newt 1, is that down to the person or the coaches, or a bit of both, or does that depend on the coach usually as well?
It depends. So it depends on the age of the competitor. So if we're talking outside of university, if the competitor is at this level but is quite young, the coach normally takes control. But if for university, people are adults, they know what they're feeling, they know how confident they feel with whatever combination of skills they choose to do. But the coach will have a large input. So we have James Blenko, who's the coach, who's a coach at the Sheffield University. He actually won Varsity for the Newt 1 level when he was competing for Sheffield Hallam.
We saw him in the trampoline earlier, trying to show off to both of the teams in the preparation.
Yeah. So he's had a lot of experience in trampolining, and he'll have a lot of input. And Kate again will have a lot of input on what the athletes will be doing. They'll give advice, but ultimately, university students are adults. They can make their decisions on their own, but the coach has so much experience, they want to pass that on and provide good advice. Same with, we've got Megan as well. Megan Bebb, she's the coach for Sheffield Hallam. She'll have, she also won a Varsity, and she competed for Sheffield University. We actually won Bucks team event one year together, so that was kind of cool. So she's now she's now coaching at the Sheffield Hallam, and she'll have a lot of input on, again, because of her experience.
Is it down to experience? Are there coaches which can just come in and they get that immediate respect? Do they have to get that respect even if they start quite quickly? I mean, for you, what's your coaching sort of setup been like from university level to Olympic level as well?
Yeah, so the university coaches, they obviously they go through the ranks. They have to qualify to be able to coach certain skills. So I was quite lucky when I was at university. I had our university coach was Andy, and Andy Coming, and he had one of the highest levels that you can get in coaching. So he was actually able to hold them out for me at competitions and coach me and provide really good advice. And then same with James is a really high qualified coach, and Megan and Kate's going through the rankings now. So it depends on the qualification that you have, if you can actually coach the skills that the person is doing. But also the experience as an athlete, they can pass that on as a coach. So they've had experience in competition, they know what it feels like to do certain skills. So they have that kind of instinct, and people that train pick up on that. If a coach can respond and say, it feels like this, I know it feels different, but you're doing it right, they'll have that certain level of understanding that the coach is confident.
So looking ahead to the two categories then.
Yes.
So in the Newt 2 category, we have Laura Gillespie, Bill Davis, Annie Henderson, Dara McMorrow, and Alice Banks. You've got Bill down as the one to watch on the sheets. What do you suspect he'll produce?
Yeah, so he's really good competitor. I think he's a few years into uni now, so he's going to want to kind of show what he can do and what he's been working on. I think this is quite a small group now, because it's harder to do these skills, so you don't see as many people competing in these groups because it's harder. You have harder skills to do. So in this one we have actually 3 Sheffield Hallam competitors and only 2 University of Sheffield. So he'll have a lot of pressure on him to try and gain these points, but also a lot of encouragement. He'll feel the pressure probably personally, but they won't put any pressure on him.
Because what we were talking about earlier, you said that expectation carries weight, and weight carries the nerves as well.
Yeah, so he's competed quite a few times now, and he's at a high enough level to be able to mentally prepare himself for the competition, and focus on him and what he needs to do what he wants to do on the trampoline.
So then into the Newt 1 category, we have Georgia Wistownova, Kezia Mahoney, Ant Smith, Ralph Edwards, Habgood, Emma Allen, Poppy Knight, Freya Howie and Izzy HB. So any ones to watch in that category? You've got Ralph down there.
Yes,
as the one.
so Ralph, I've mentioned before, we train together at, when I'm here training in Sheffield under the guidance of Paul Greaves, my personal coach. And Ralph is like a really good competitor. He can actually perform really high difficulty routines, but unfortunately in this competition it's only based on the execution of the simple routine that he's competing. So he's got to show his basic elements as well as he can. He's got a really good friendly rivalry and competition from Ant Smith from Sheffield Hallam, who's, again, he can perform his routines at a really nice execution level.
With that, is there a danger though that you can think about Ant or Ralph too much and that you could ignore the rest of them because it is based on that individual?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
You know, at this level anything can happen, and it's more difficult to, you'll see maybe a few more crashes, but I think we're competing now.
So here we go, the Newt 2 category, starting with Laura Gillespie from Sheffield Hallam.
So we've got straight back, straight Brani. Here's the full, that's one of the required elements. Straddle shape with the line outs. You can already tell that she's got more composure in her routine. We've got the line outs going on. And the 3/4 front Brani ball out to finish there with the pipe front at the end. Really nice start to our Newt 2 competition. You can tell the level has just stepped up massively. So there's more somersaults, there's better form, she's getting the kick outs. Not only is she kicking out, so going from the tuck shape to the straight shape, you now want to try and see the straight position before 12 o'clock if you're looking at a clock.
Yeah.
She wants to be directly there.
And the refinement of that as well, so crucial in these two categories.
So you'll see more composure. She has, she's on the trampoline and she's maintaining the height, and she has the lift of the skills, so you won't see as much kind of time changing to the rhythm of the routine.
So next up we have Bill Davis from the University of Sheffield.
So you've got straight back here, straddle, so you've got good lift into the skills, just losing a little bit of form because he's not quite got straight legs. Tuck back, you see the kick out almost at the top there. Oh, bit of travel. He's chosen to do the 3/4 front and the Brani ball out. So he's got a big cheer that might show that, he's quite happy to finish that routine. There might have been a few problems in training or something. So unfortunately, they didn't have as much form as we'd hoped for this level, but you could see that he's got the skills that he needed in there. He's stepped up. He's gone. So I highlighted him because he's gone up to this level.
So he's previously competed at Newt for Newt's 3
yeah,
level.
so
and
he's built up, and he's a really good competitor. He just unfortunately just started to travel across the trampoline, so he lost a little bit of balance. He over-rotated, under-rotated, and so that started to lose him a bit of height. But I thought he, to get after the mistakes that he made, to keep going and actually showing still form and kick out and getting back into the middle, he did a really good job of controlling that.
So here is Annie Henderson from Uni of.
So she's not quite happy with the jump in. So you're allowed up to kind of a minute of jumping before you start losing penalties, before you start getting penalties. So she's just regaining her height again. Okay, so she starts with straight back, straight Brani, just losing the body tension there, full. That's her chosen element. Pipe Brani, pipe back with a line out. Tuck Brani, tuck back. We've got that forward, backward stuff going on. Straddle, and finishes with a nice, simple seat landing.
Well, that was a rapturous cheer, that. So having that minute at the start to actually allow yourselves to compose again, even if the jumping at the start doesn't become brilliant, but because it's the jumping and it's not part of the actual routine, the mark does not.
It doesn't
affect
matter.
that.
So I've actually competed it was during the European trials, and I started jumping, and I came to the end of the trampoline and actually just flopped onto the mat. But as long as I hadn't started my routine, it was fine. So I just had to kind of get over my embarrassment, start jumping again, and form routine. And just it's that refocusing. So when you're not quite jumping right, sometimes you just need to stop and start again to refocus. And she did that really well there.
So the scores so far, to give you a quick update in this Newt 2 category: Laura Gillespie 25.1, Bill Davis 24.05 so far. But this is Dara McMorrow from Sheffield Hallam.
So she's got a really nice jumping technique. Great body tension, straight back, straight Brani. Here's her chosen element with the full twisting back somersault, straddle with a line out. Pipe back, pipe Brani, great control. She's lifting up into the skills, tuck to gain control. 3/4 front with tuck Brani ball out and a simple straddle shape to finish. That was a really, really nice routine.
Was that one of the best so far today?
Yeah, definitely. You could see that she had really nice shapes, and then she was lining out into those straight positions early enough. She hit those 12 o'clocks. She was doing really good. She had control. She maintained height. So she lifted into her skills rather than rushing. That was a really, really nice routine.
So when you say lifting but not rushing, is that essentially composure and just taking a tiny bit out the speed and the height just to get that composure and get that control?
Yes, so the lift is instead of doing a somersault low, she's weighted to do the somersault higher. And that's the maintenance of height.
So the last in this category for Sheffield Hallam, Alice Banks.
Again, a really nice jumping technique. She's building her height there. She has really good balance. Just waiting for the right jump here. Okay, here we go. We've got straight back, straight Brani, really nice shape there. Straddle, pipe Brani, great line out. Half twist jump, tuck Brani, another good line out, tuck back. We should have a body landing here. Here we go. 3/4 front, Brani ball out, and back into the middle. So the HD was actually really quite good until that, just the last skill. It was actually really quite hard to stay in the middle for a Brani ball out or a somersault off of a body landing.
Is there almost the thought when you're trying to improve the execution a tad that comes off the HD a bit because you overthink and overreaching it almost?
They come hand in hand. So the horizontal displacement score, it used to be judged by the judges. So if you're doing a skill correctly and you're thinking about performing it with good execution, the HD comes along with that. So it won't distract it from it, will actually help if you think about horizontal displacement and execution. What might happen is you start losing time of flight. You start losing that height.
So this is the Newt 1 category. And first up from Sheffield Hallam, Georgia Wistalnoha.
Okay, so she's building a lot more height now that we've gone into the Newt 1. And we'll see some bigger skills. Hopefully better form. Straight back start, straight Brani, full back. Straddle with a great lineup. She's moved away from the cross, but she's starting to come back. Here we go. Tuck Brani, tuck back, 3/4 front, tuck Brani ball out with a really nice kick out there, and then stopping the trampoline. I thought that was a good start to Newt 1 competition.
So was there the travel there? Was that the disappointing factor in that then?
Yeah, so she was, you get deducted points if you're outside of the middle box. So if you're slightly outside the middle of the box, you'll lose 1 point for every time you land there. And if you're even further, you'll get 0.2. And if you're on the corners of the trampoline, you'll lose 0.3. So some of that, she was actually in the 2 deductions, and for the majority was in the 1, so she'll lose quite a lot of marks for.
So with the travel, it's proportionate to the length of distance you're outside the main area you're meant to be in.
No, so if you see the trampoline from kind of a bird's eye view, you'll see that there's a box that follows. There's a small box that goes around the cross. Then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are outside of that, and then again you'll have a further box, and then 4 in the corners. So if you see a bird's eye view of the trampoline, you'll be able to have a look at those, and depending on where you land, you'll lose more points.
So next up is Kezia Mahoney from the University of Sheffield about to start her routine in this final Newt 1 category here.
She's got a really nice reach into her straight jumping, very springy. Okay, great line in that straight back, straight Brani, full back, Rudy, there we go. So that's the 1.5 twist in the front somersault. Tuck Brani, tuck back, 3/4 front somersault, Brani ball out. So pike front, oh, pike Brani, there we go. Surprised me at the end.
So that creativity, it's more imaginative, isn't it? Is that when you're competing what really makes you want to compete, because you've got that freedom to actually to create that? Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're building the routines and training, I think that's like quite a fun part, and then as you start to get into the competition, it's almost second nature. You don't really realise that creativity that you've had when you start to build the routine. So it's more like during training when you start to think about that creativity and have that. The fun element comes just from getting that not perfection, but close to it.
So just to quickly go through the scores of the Newt 2 category previously, Laurie Gillespie 25.1, Bill Davis 24.05, Annie Henderson 25.1, Dara McMorrow 25.8, and Alice Banks 25.3. But this is Ant Smith from Sheffield Hallam.
He starts with laid back Cody, straight back, straight Bronny. He's really hitting this HDN form. This is beautiful so far. Pike back, great shape. Pike Bronny's just moved. He's just slightly moving away from the middle. Finishes with a half out. So that's our first double somersault of the competition. So that's a really, really nice routine. So you could see that when he made the shapes, they were really definite. That he was showing off his flexibility there. He was showing off the control from getting out of the shape into the straight line. There was a slight movement away from the cross, and this is what Ralph struggles with, who's competing next, is that travel. So, and nailed that travel then. So his HD score should be quite high. I think, yeah. Has it come through?
We'll double check on the sheet in a minute.
So yeah, so he's done a really good job there, and he decided to finish, save the best till last.
9.5, 9.6.
Yeah, so really nice. For that level of routine, it's really good. And to finish with a double somersault there, so he did 2 somersaults in the forward rotation with a half twist at the end in the pike position.
So this is Ralph's routine, and from what Brani was saying earlier, he will want to try and beat and repeat what Ant just did.
Okay, so he started with 1 and 3, tuck Brani ball out, pipe back, full, so he's lost a little bit of momentum. He's picked it back up, straight Brani, straight back, tuck Brani, tuck back, nice line, and he's decided to finish with a half out tuck, and then a straddle jump. I don't think he's very happy.
He shakes his head at the end, but what was your view of that?
Yeah, so I think he's disappointed with that routine because he's probably feeling that pressure because, that expectation of doing quite well and winning the points for the university and his team. I think he's disappointed in himself because right at the start of the routine, he started to travel away from the cross and he broke form. So in one of his somersaults, you want to try and hold the line out all the way to the end, but he broke form quite early and he folded down. So you lose points for that, from not holding that straight position for long enough.
Well, just to give you an idea of the scores in this Newt 1 category so far, Georgia 24.9, Kezia 25.6, Ant with the highest score of the day so far on 26.45, and Ralph on 26.15. But this is Emma Allen from Sheffield Hallam.
She's jumping really high, really nicely. So starts with a straight back, straight Brani, great hold. Full back, straddle jump to gain a little bit more control. We've got pipe back, pipe Brani, it's gone really quiet. Tuck Brani, tuck back, great form. 3/4 front, and she's chosen to do a straight Brani ball out. Bit of a stumble on the ending, so if the judges they should still be looking and they will deduct for her landing if it's not stable, so her feet were apart in the wrong way. So that was a really nice routine. It showed good form. She held that straight line is really, really beautiful, and that's probably why she's chosen to finish with that straight Brani ball out from the back. So it's a harder skill to compete, but actually if you can do it well, it's easier to get better form scores because you don't have to get into a shape, you don't have to line out, you're just straight the whole time. So
and in doing that, you get that refinement, that composure,
Yes.
and that control that we've continuously talked about throughout the afternoon so far. Right. Okay. This is Poppy Knight from the University of Sheffield.
Okay, so we've got straight back, straight Brani, pipe back, pipe Brani, tuck back to seat, half twist out, tuck Brani, tuck back, then she's finishing with a 3/4 front, Brani ball out. So she didn't have the best of heights in that routine, she kept it quite low, but she was getting those line outs. I think that was a really big focus for her, was kicking out early and hitting the 12 o'clocks. So I think she's really happy with that routine. It was really, really nice. It didn't have any like really big or major mistakes, which you could see in Ralph's. He made that mistake really early on and then had to deal with it. Whereas he kind of showed a little bit more form later on in the routine, whereas her routine was very consistent.
Because it's not judged on difficulty here, is there a sense that would they rather do a safer routine and try and execute that, or would they try and impress so much because it is varsity and this is a one-off event a year?
Here they've definitely chosen for the points and trying to win the points. Because Ralph, for example, can do a much harder routine, and if he was to do 2 scores, he might score higher.
So this is Freya Howie from Sheffield Hallam.
Okay, great lift into that straight back, straight Brani. Really nice body tension. Little bit of travel, but brought it back. Lovely shapes and line outs. Tuck Brani here. Great line out for that tuck back. 3/4 front, Brani ball out. And finishing with that pipe front somersault. And you can see the relief on her face. So she probably felt quite nervous before she got on, but she actually did. That was really, really, really well executed routine there. She had really nice lift. So the lift is like taking her time to somersault rather than rushing and losing height. So her height maintenance was really nice. And as soon as she made that slight mistake in travel, she adapted very, very quickly to regain control, get herself back in the middle, and to be able to form the next skill with great quality.
Well, so far the scores in this group so far have been consistently into the 24s and above. So we'll just go through them quickly before Izzy HB takes the final place of the afternoon in this Newt 1 category. So Poppy Knight 24.65, Emma Allen 26.55, and Freya Howie 26.05. But this is Izzy's routine.
So her ankles look really strapped up there. Starting with a double front somersault half twist out. Here we go, straight Brani. Lovely straddle, regain control. Great shape in that pipe Brani. Pipe back, tuck Brani. Tuck back, good line out. Little bit of travel there. 3/4 front Brani ball out to get that control back, and a good. There, you finished with the routine. She's killed that trampoline. You have to stop the trampoline dead to not lose any points then. She had really good quality of that there. And again, what you see in this group is that if there's a mistake that's been made, they adapt really quickly. That's something that the earlier groups hadn't quite had the experience to do.
Does that come with time?
Comes with, time, practice, experience, just understanding of how the trampoline works and how your body works with that. They've done a really good job of showing those different levels, and you've almost gone through a whole journey of trampolining here.
Well, that is it in terms of the categories so far. So we've had Newt 6, Newt 5, Newt 4, Newt 3, Newt 2, and finishing off with Newt 1 there. Izzy scored 25.15. So impressions of Newt 2 and Newt 1 there.
Yeah, you could tell how much better quality and just by the height, and also I say pointed toes, straight legs when they used to be straight, and just regaining their composure if something went wrong. That's something that you see as someone gets more experience, and it shows their hard work and their talent that they have and their body awareness. So overall, I'm just very impressed. I'm I feel for Ralph because I know how much pressure he felt on him.
Especially going after Ant as well.
And yeah, because Ant nailed that routine. Like, he did really well. And actually, his
26.45, which is an outstanding score.
Yeah, and we have I think actually someone overtook him there. When I think it was when we watched Emma, she had a really lovely technique and style.
As we see the black and gold to the left of us there, yeah. The trampoline version of the hacker in that sense.
So Ant and Emma, like, they both performed really, really lovely routines. And I was really, really impressed with Ant's, actually, from what I've seen in training. And I haven't really seen Emma train that much before, but I have seen Ant. And I just thought it was really lovely. You could see in his pike back, if you can rewind and have a watch, he lifted up really nicely, made a tight shape, and lined out, and that's really hard to do with a pike back, a somersault that you think is quite simple when it comes to this level. It's hard to get there.
With the height as well, because Ant's height was insane, really. His height, but it wasn't that he went up to that level. It was controls when he came down there, and composed when he actually went through the routine as well. Yeah, it was really nice to see, and like I said, to get into a shape that well and come out and keep the control and keep the height and keep it in the middle. There's loads of things to think about, and they make it look easy. They make it look so easy, but when you actually get up there and the trampoline's pinging, you have those nerves. It's really hard to stop the nerves from taking over. So analysing Ant and Ralph then, because Ralph went immediately after Ant, do you think there would have been any pressure on him mentally almost, try and do better than Ant and not even think about the others? Or?
Yeah, I think it might have been a struggle for him because Ant did such a nice routine. And I don't know if Ralph actually watched that or not, but I think following on from that is quite difficult if he was thinking about it. But at his level that he's at, he's going to have quite good mental resilience, and he's going to be able to refocus on doing his routine. Unfortunately, he just made a slight mistake at the start, but that mental resilience showed through, because as soon as he made the mistake, he brought it back and he finished the routine really strongly. Unfortunately, it showed at the end that he was disappointed with he'd focused on the negative part of his routine.
So going into the Newt 2 category quickly, Bill Davis, who was your one to watch here, a score of 24.05, the lowest score out of that group, ones to watch. Yeah, his horizontal score 9.3, 9.4 was the lowest in that group as well. Do you think that was primarily down to that, or the execution overall?
No, I think it's a combination of both. So the reason why he lost execution scores, and so he travelled because of a mistake and a lack of kind of control. I say control so much, but he had a lack of control just on a few of the skills that he did, and he wasn't able to regain that balance. So just one mistake at the start just threw off the whole routine, and as soon as he started travelling, to gain the balance back, sometimes you have to lose the form, and unfortunately he couldn't quite find that balance to bring it back. So I think as soon as he started losing the form, he then started to travel more, then he started to lose form, lost height and rushed in. So it's kind of almost a mistake at the start. If you can't gain that control back, you just lose a lot of points.
And in that group, Dara Morrow from Sheffield Hallam, 25.8 in the end, the highest score of that group. Really, really impressed from the start as well. It was pretty much nearly faultless. Yeah, it was a really lovely routine, and you can, as I have been a judge before, I need to regain some of that qualifications, but you can just see from experience that she had that little bit extra, that little bit something more. So it was nice to see that it was rewarded by the judges. They know what they're doing. They can see that little bit extra that person had. And I think we're about to go to the announcement soon, but before we do that, the difference between Newt's 1, 2, 3 to 4, 5 and 6, even in the 5 and 6 category, some athletes not even completing their routines, but that will come eventually, won't it? Yeah, so with more practice comes more confidence and more consistency. So you will see that as people kind of go through their rankings and they push themselves out of their comfort zone, they're more likely to
make a mistake in their routine. If someone's kind of holding back and staying within their comfort zone and working on execution on the same routine over and over and over again, that's when you start to see people getting more points and more form. So it's not necessarily, at my level, you see people crash out a lot. It's just similar to this competition. You see people make mistakes. It's just because people are, they're pushing their boundaries. They're trying to get the best scores, the best height, and they're risking it all to win these points. So I don't think it matters really what level you're at. The level of consistency just depends on how much practice you've had on that routine.
Because they've had family and friends here today, especially with a one-off varsity event, the expectation as well is insane.
Yeah.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah. I think, I felt expectation when I was competing, but also no one's going to be mad at you for making a mistake. Everyone's so supportive. They'll be disappointed for you, but not at you, if that makes sense. So I think the expectation is only something that you put on yourself.
Because I guess it is still a learning curve, and although we always talk about, especially with the Anson and the Ralph situation, is that individual aspect, but overall, the overall scores, what the judges are going to be giving, are going to be, it's a team event overall. So you have your peers to support you.
Yeah, definitely. So if one person's disappointed with their routine, people will support them and try and cheer them up, and vice versa. If someone's on a really good routine, everyone's going to be cheering them on and be really excited for them. So it's really nice being part of a team like this. It's so large. I love competing at Varsity and Bucks because of the team atmosphere and like the kind of love that you feel from your teammates.
So how has it changed from when you were taking part to what it is like now overall?
So Varsity or
Varsity, yeah.
It's pretty similar, if I'm honest. I think you can tell that there's friendly rivalry between the different universities, but also a massive amount of respect for one another and what they're doing. Especially you can see that the coaches, especially we've got Megan and James that have competed for the opposite university and come back and coaching for another one now, and they have that respect, and people they're trying to do the best. They're trying to just get people to enjoy the sport, take part, and have fun, and also win Varsity.
And I guess we talk about the responsibility of the captains as well. Just touching on Charlotte Sweets, for example, in the Newt 3 category, 24.6, which was the second highest score between Georgia Wright from Sheffield Hallam in that category, again leading from the front. And the response that she got when she went off the trampoline, she got hugged immediately by her team, and I think that shows the level of respect, but also geeing them up before they go on.
Yeah.
And a lot of the work behind the scenes as well, just having that social aspect, nights out, she's the one pretty leading it as well.
Yeah, the captains, they have the biggest cheer because they put so much effort and time and passion into their whole team. They support everybody. They've sacrificed a lot of their time they've given up a lot of their time towards the trampolining and to the club and to all the different people. So they deserve that large cheer. And I remember the different captains that I've had, and some of them. Meg's here today, Ashley's here, and Emma. She's she might be back home watching. I don't know. But they have this sense of kind of, it's like a friendship, family sort of thing where you just have so much respect for one another, and they deserve that loud cheer.
And going back to the start of this afternoon, just quickly, any athletes there that you thought will progress well into the Newt 3, 2 and 1?
Yeah,
from the scores?
Definitely, you can see that there's people that are in their comfort zone and ready to go outside and progress.
I think we're about to go to the announcement for the scores in a minute, if they're ready on the other side of the hall. Just a few seconds, potentially.
It's all gone quiet.
And Harry Preston and Sarah Morse, the two sports officers over there at the front of both black and gold and those in maroon and white from the University of Sheffield and Sheffield Hallam, smiling to the camera there, both captains enjoying the trampolining this afternoon and about to be ready for the scores. Have you any idea which way this is going to go?
I'm not sure. I think it's going to, whatever it is, it's going to be only by a few points. I don't want to say which one I think might take it, but this is the worst part for everybody involved. If no one's been watching and working out who scored what, and it's unknown, this is quite difficult time because, you know, you're waiting to find out if you've won varsity or not. So it's a, you know, it's a really tense moment. But
you see a Mexican wave go across Goodwin. So to give you an idea, the current score is Uni of 4, Hallam 1 overall. So from snow sports in December, the Uni of Sheffield were 3-1 up, and then they won the equestrian on Friday. The sailing yesterday, if you've been around Sheffield recently with the higher winds, you'd think you're part of some sort of extreme weathers documentary. It's been that bad. So the sailing was postponed yesterday, and the trampolining today. So will it be 4-2 or 5-1 on that? Just to give you a quick idea as well on our live coverage coming up on Forge Sports. We're live at Hillsborough all of Tuesday for the women's and men's football ones before Hallam Sports Park takes place on Wednesday. Then on Thursday we have live coverage of the boxing at the Octagon on Thursday night before it's lacrosse and hockey at Norton on Friday. We're back at EIS on the Monday for what should be a plethora of sporting success for both universities. Netball, basketball, and for the first time this year, athletics. We've actually got live coverage of that in the evening. We will have instant highlights of that. And then these are the announcements.
If first would like to stand in the middle, second, third, and come and shake the sports officer's hand on your way up, okay? So in Newt 6 in third place, we have Emily Trim from Sheffield Hallam. In second place is Alexa Peak from Sheffield Hallam. And in third place is Grace Polak from Uni of. And everyone take some photos. Okay, for Newt 5, in third place we have Jamie Scott from Uni of. In second place we have Tabitha Gent from Uni of. And in first place we have Sophie Mawson from Sheffield Hallam. Okay, for Newt 4, in third place we have Hayley Cliff from Sheffield Hallam. In second place we have India Twig from Uni of. And in first place we have Isabel Ruff from Uni of. Okay, for Newt 3, in third place we have Kate Williams from Uni of. In second place we have Charlotte Sweet from Uni of. And in first place we have Georgia Wright from Sheffield Hallam. Okay, on to Newt 2. In third place, we have Annie Henderson from Uni of. In second place, we have Alice Banks from Sheffield Hallam. And in first place, we have Dara McMorrow from Sheffield Hallam. Okay, and Newt 1. In third place, we have Ralph Edward Habgood from Uni of. In second place, we have Ant Smith from Sheffield Hallam. And in first place, we have Emma Allen from Sheffield Hallam.
Okay, and on to the bit that you all really care about. So the winners of this year's varsity are Sheffield Hallam with a score of 20 to Union with a score of 16.
And what a fantastic afternoon that's been. Hallam just taking it, leaving the final fastest score to 4-2. Nicole, your thoughts on this afternoon?
Well, I guess you could say on recent form, Hallam were the ones you'd expect. They won it last year, of course, with Uni having won it the 4 years prior. They just took it 20.16, came right down to the final Newt ones there. They were reading out the scores from each of the individual events. But yeah, deserved from Hallam. Fantastic afternoon of trampolining for them, and I'm sure Uni will be proud of all the athletes who took part, some of them their first ever competitions. So. And
going into the other varsity events, like, how do you think the Hallam winning, taking this point, is going to make all the other contestants feel like the pressure's on now?
Of course, yeah, the lead is now only a 2-point lead, so the pressure's definitely on to try and push and push and push and make sure that, that Uni take it home at the end of the day.
And we are now joined by Bryony Page to get her final thoughts on this afternoon. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
And how did you find this afternoon?
Yeah, no, it was really exciting to see the higher levels and more experienced trampolinists. It was really good to see that.
And of course, trampolining is a bit of a niche sport. How do you think, events like these, obviously having it streamed as well, how do you think that's going to help to drive people getting involved?
Yeah, I hope people have kind of had a look at it and watched the whole thing and seen the development from like kind of what you can do as a beginner to what you can do as advanced, and just to see like how exciting it is and how kind of how much hard work and support everybody gives. So I think it's really exciting. Hopefully people will come and join the squads, give it a try, and really enjoy it.
And like you say, we did see all the way from like the beginners all the way up to the ones. How great was it to see some of these people who were competing for the first time and just gave it their all? And you could see, like, especially from the earlier groups, all of them came off with huge smiles on their faces, so excited. Like, how great was that to see?
Yeah, amazing. I remember when I was competing in varsity, a lot of people had only just started trampolining, and it was their first time ever, and it's like, oh, I don't really know if I can compete yet. Just go, just get on a trampoline, have good fun. If you mess up, we'll give you a bigger cheer. Like, it's almost like just encouraging people to have a go, and I think that's what's so great about the earlier groups, is that people are just, they're brand new to the sport and they're getting encouraged to, get out of their comfort zone, try something new, have a bit of fun, get judged on it, and maybe win some points.
And of course that takes the total to 4 points to 2. Do you still backing Uni off to take varsity home?
My coach, who works at Hallam, might be disappointed with me saying this, but yes, of course I'm going to back the University of Sheffield. So a bit disappointed and a bit deflated, but also have massive respect for what Sheffield Hallam have done today.
And what's next for you? Obviously you've got Tokyo coming up. Like, how are your plans going for that?
Yeah, so training's going all right at the moment. Both my ankles are in one piece, which is really nice. And we've got training to a World Cup coming up in just 5 or 6 weeks time now, which is Belarus. And then just got a few more World Cups to go until the World Championships. Then a few World Cups next year, and then we've got the Olympics if we make it. So got some big stuff ahead of me.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of our coverage today. The commentary's been great, and it's been a pleasure to have you working alongside with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And that concludes our coverage for Trampolining here today at Varsity 2019. And you can catch us again on Tuesday when we'll be at Hillsborough for the women's and the men's footballs. See you then.